We'll, we'll probably split that into two segments then, probably. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Right. Yeah. Oh, a lot of people are like wrapping up their shows. We're just starting. Exactly.
Behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my text, but Willingham did not discuss the BYU rivalry, but he did talk about a certain wide receiver singer joining his roster.
Got it.
Or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you need your home repiped? Having trouble with your water heater? Leaking toilet? Have you ever thought about an instant recorded seweroscopy? Then call Economy Plumbing Service at 885-3510. Because if water goes through it or to it, we do it. Economy Plumbing, 885-3510.
With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are just 50 cents each at Staples. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program. In-store only offer ends 8/24, limit 20. Save big on back to school at Staples.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
And we are coming to you live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Big 12 Media Week is now in full here. The first day of activities on the football side. 8 schools have come through. And it's all very different than what we're used to in the Pac-12, where we basically got through 12 schools in one day. There are now 16 schools in this conference, so we need 2 days to get through all of them, and it's actually a bit weird. This is the end of the day here at Allegiant Stadium. We arrived very early this morning at around 7:45, 8 o'clock as the day was beginning. There were a lot of we're on Radio Row here, and a lot of the stations were already on the air. A lot of stations from the Central Time Zone and the Mountain Time Zone, and we're doing their shows, and it appears we might be one of the last shows on the air here today at Allegiant Stadium, but they won't kick us out till 7, so we've got you all the way until 6 o'clock here at this beautiful facility, commonly known as the Death Star, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders, and I am at about the 37-yard line on the, I guess this would be the west sideline here. I don't know if this is the home sideline or the visiting sideline. I have to go back and review some video of that, but I do remember Kyler Murray scoring a pretty fantastic touchdown 2-point conversion here a few years ago, and so it was great to be in the building where that actually happened here for the beginning of Big 12 Media Days, Media Week for us, as we are out here all 5 days. This is show number 2. It was really hot. I mean, really hot yesterday at Stadium Swim down at Circa, but we are feeling much better today in the nice, comfortable, air-conditioned comforts of this fabulous NFL facility here, and looking forward to bringing you some of the outstanding information that we've been able to gather so far today. Day 1, the Arizona State Sun Devils were here. Your Wildcats will be in the building tomorrow. They'll arrive. Obviously, Brent Brennan will be here, first-year head coach for your Arizona Wildcats. He will bring back a lot of his stars with him. Noah Fafita, Tetro McMillan on the offensive side of the ball, Jacob Manu, and Gunnar Maldonado on the defensive side of the ball. And we'll get a chance to hear from them on how they feel about being picked to finish 5th in this new conference, the Big 12. Today we got to hear from, again, 8 of the teams in this conference. Those 8 teams that we heard from today included Texas Christian. We'll hear from Sonny Dykes, the former offensive coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats back during the Mike Stoops era. We'll hear from him today on the program. Kansas State was here today. Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah picked to finish first. We'll get some thoughts on that from head coach Kyle Whittingham. Again, Oklahoma State was in the house today along with Iowa State. And as I mentioned, the Arizona State Sun Devils were also here today. We're going to chat a little bit later with Xavier Alford and Clayton Smith, a couple of the defensive stars on Kenny Dillingham's second team. So looking forward to that as well. Again, I'm in Las Vegas, back in the homestead. Joining me now is J.W. Madden. And J.W., you've kind of been following along with this event from the Tucson side of it today. What were your impressions of some of the things that you were watching in terms of the press conferences? We're going to hear shortly from the commissioner, Brett Yormark, who gave his address here today. We'll hear a part of that early in the show, and we'll also give a part of that to you later on in the show. But, J.W., just your thoughts on some of the things you saw today.
My biggest takeaway, DK, is probably just the level of positivity. I think this is a new experience for a lot of people. A lot of people maybe didn't make the choice. This isn't a choice that a lot of these people that are involved in this press today, the new members of the conference, will put it that way. And yet I feel like there's, especially listening to Commissioner Yormark and all the positivity that he has to say and all of the details that he covers as far as marketing and all the things that, some Arizona Wildcat fans have maybe been complaining about, the lack of leadership within the Pac-12 conference over the last 10 years. Just a lot of really interesting, just a really positive direction is my biggest takeaway if I had to pick one, DK. Just fun to listen to all the players. There's so much anticipation and excitement for the new season coming up, and it's not that far away. So it just feels like the NBA Finals just wrapped up, and now it's time to get started for college football. It's right around the corner.
Everybody's positive when there's no losses on the scoreboard, right?
Indeed. Yeah, that's a good point.
Exactly. Everybody's bright and cheery with loads of outlook. But again, as we talked about yesterday, somebody's going to finish first and somebody's going to finish last in this 16-team conference.
Speaking of which, I did hear you refer to the school up north. Is it possible that for the foreseeable future we refer to them as the team picked last in the Big 12?
The team picked last. We can refer to them as the team picked last.
I think
in the Big 12 conference. And okay, I think I'm gonna have to get a jar. I think I'm gonna have to get a jar, J-Dub, and put on the table here and in the studio. And every time I say Pac-12, I'll have to put a quarter in that jar, and we'll see how rich we can get. And maybe we'll donate that money or something at the end of the season. Hopefully, there's not a lot of money to have to donate, but I've already caught myself once saying Pac-12 today.
I got a big whiteboard over here in front of me, so I'll just go ahead and start making some check marks, and then we'll just tally up the totals when you get back to town.
There you go. All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. We'd like to talk to you for sure as well. Get your thoughts on everything. In fact, we mentioned the Wildcats are picked to finish fifth in this Big 12 conference, which is 16 teams. It could be called something else here in the not too distant future if the sponsorships come the way and it is maybe the All-State 12 or at some point, or the All-State Conference. We'll kind of see how that plays out. We'll hear more on Brett Yormark's thoughts on all of that and the potential for that here coming up a little bit shortly. But, yeah, our question of the day today, if you head on over right now to our Twitter account at Wildcats1290, you can vote in our poll. We'll also review our question of the day for yesterday, an interesting non-sports question that we threw to you yesterday. But the Wildcats are picked by the writers and the broadcasters from this league. There were 60 people that voted. I told you yesterday I was not one of those people, although I've been already recruited today to be a member of the Football Writers Association of America, which is no longer just writers. It is, I guess, it encompasses everybody that covers college football, and so
nice.
We'll see. We'll look into that. Maybe I'll have you be our official person on that. And
is that like
you can vote? You can vote for the Outland Trophy and all of that kind of stuff.
Is that like where the head coach just gives his sheet to like some assistant or some intern and says, "Fill this out for me," and I'll sign it?
Right, something like that.
Sure, I'll take care of it. Sure.
Something like that. So. They said they're lacking writers west of the Rocky Mountains was the way that it was put to me. So they're lacking representation, I should say, west of the Rocky Mountains. And I guess it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last year about how there's so many more colleges in the East than there are in the West. And that was kind of one of the talking points that we had when we were kind of breaking down what the future of the Pac-12 was going to be before, the whole thing collapsed. But there are just so many more schools in the East, and obviously with more schools, you got more people covering those schools, and so you just don't. They apparently just do not have the representation on this side of the country in their organization that they would like. So we got recruited today to be members of the Pro Football Writers Association.
Not to bring up, old wounds or whatever, but, as far as print is concerned, DK, I mean, we've all watched a lot of the newspapers fold over the last 25 years of the internet booming. My question is, how many of the cities in the West that are representing colleges are those, 5+ million type of cityscapes? And I think the big city newspapers tend to close a little bit quick. I think a lot of the smaller city newspapers stay alive to keep some of those smaller communities. My experience anyway. So maybe it's just a simple matter of some of the West Coast cities that we think of that represent all these schools. They just don't have dedicated sports writers following those sports programs around. That would have been the case 20 years ago. They would have had the Sacramento Bee and so forth and so on from all those different schools. But hey, you were walking around the area and someone just tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you want to be a part of this voting?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how recruiting works. Even we as broadcasters are being recruited. You never know who's going to come recruiting you. Networking, exactly. Back to our question of the day, though, as I was about to give you that, and then we got off on a little bit of a tangent. But head on over right now to Twitter. Our Twitter account is at Wildcats1290. You can watch the show on our Twitter account as well. In fact, you can watch this show today on a number of different platforms. We are streaming this show on Twitter. We're also streaming it on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. All of those three are at Wildcats Radio 1290. Twitter is at Wildcats 1290. But our question of the day, will Arizona finish 5th in the Big 12 as predicted, or will they finish better than 5th, or will they finish worse than 5th? Head on over right now to our Twitter account at Wildcats1290. You can vote in our question of the day. Again, will the Arizona Wildcats, they're picked to finish 5th by the Big 12 media, will they finish 5th as predicted, better than 5th, or lower than 5th? Right now, early in the voting process, 92% of the people are saying that the Wildcats will finish better than 5th in this new Big 12 conference of 16.
What were they picked preseason last year, DK?
That's a good question. We'll have. I think it was. I don't think we can go back and look at that because the Pac-12 has scrubbed their entire website.
Because the website no longer exists.
It no longer exists, so we can't even go back and I don't think we can even go back and look to see what they were picked to fit. I want to say maybe like 6th or 7th, if I remember correctly, last year.
What I can do is tell you last year's Big 12 standings. You could probably take Texas and Oklahoma out of that. But Oklahoma State, Virginia, Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, those would have been the top 5 teams outside of, obviously, Texas and Oklahoma. But it's impossible to even know what kind of record that would be. But Kansas State finished 5th at 6-3.
There you go. So right now, again, 92% of you saying that the Wildcats will finish better than 5th place. I'm going to go with that. I believe it's going to be. I could see it being 3rd or 4th. I don't know if they're going to be anything lower than maybe 4th place, especially with this offense coming back. So I'm going to go 3rd or 4th, I think, in the Big 12 Conference. That's going to be my vote in this poll. What's your vote going to be? You can text us again or any of our social media platforms. You can text us with your answer. Comment on our Twitter account at Wildcats1290, over to Facebook, Wildcats Radio 1290, and leave us your comments. I'm seeing a couple of people that have already commented on our poll. Let's see. I think I've got one person that said 4. They believe that the Wildcats will finish 4th, so they are kind of right there where I am. 3rd or 4th, I believe, is going to be where this program sits. Got here, J-Dub, today, and would you? Of course, you're not going to have any event in Las Vegas without showgirls, right?
Sure. Exactly. Lots of peacock feathers.
Oh, yeah. They were. In fact, if you head on over to our Twitter account right now, at Wildcats1290, I believe I posted the picture of Wilbur. Wilbur was here earlier. He didn't last very long. He was getting into it with Sparky. It's like Pac-12, Big 12, doesn't matter. Sparky and Wilbur are going to go at it. That's kind of what they do. They were going at it. They had like a pseudo locker room set up down here on the field. So those two were going at it in the locker room. And then I coerced Wilbur to take a picture with the showgirls that were here. And so you can see that as well over. Yeah, in fact, I did post that on our Twitter account. So head on over to Twitter right now, and you can see Wilbur with the showgirls all dressed in, I don't know why they were wearing green and pink, if that is some symbol of just what they normally wear, if that's something to do with the Big 12. I don't think it does. But yeah, Wilbur was hanging out and, being Wilbur.
Wilbur loves showgirls, but don't tell Wilma.
And actually, I think it's, speaking of showgirls, I think one of the, if I saw correctly, one of the cheerleading, and we've got all the Pride folks here. We got a lot of the cheerleaders. I don't know if they're cheerleaders or poms. I think they're cheerleaders because I haven't seen ours yet. But I think one of the school's cheerleaders are known as the showgirls. I'm not, because I saw one young lady and she was wearing the outfit, and on the back of it said showgirls. So we'll have to look and see which school that is. But I believe it's one of the Texas schools because all of the Texas cheerleaders were wearing their cowboy boots, whether it was TCU or Texas Tech. I guess cowboy boots, and we're going to learn very quickly, is a mandatory piece of apparel if you're a cheerleader in this conference.
Hey, Arizona knows a thing or two about cowboy boots. I don't think we'll fit in just fine. TCU are the Showgirls.
Yes.
Also, last year, Arizona was picked 8th.
Okay,
in the
8th.
Preseason media poll. It was USC, Washington, Utah, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Washington State, and Arizona was 8th, and they finished 3rd.
There you go. All right. Okay, much more coming up for you. Again, we're going to talk to a couple of Sun Devils today. We'll get their thoughts on what happened last year at it's not called Sun Devil Stadium, Mountain America, I think is what they call it now. We'll get their thoughts on what happened there last year in the game against the Wildcats, if that has given them momentum to go into year 2 of the Kenny Dillingham era. We're going to hear from the commissioner, Brett Yormark, here today. Also caught up and had a chance to ask a few questions to Sonny Dykes, the former offensive coordinator for the Arizona Wildcats, back during the Nick Foles and Rob Gronkowski years. We'll hear from Sonny Dykes as well straight ahead. It's DK on the Sports Tip. We're coming to you live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Big 12 Media Week. Cricket is back in Tucson to make sure you get home safely every 20 minutes on the Fives.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Oracle and First Avenue in Oracle, a hit-and-run wreck in Oro Valley. Also, traffic on Ina, still closed between Mona Lisa and Camino de la Tierra. An excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. Wednesday night, 109 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Celebrate July 4th with savings at Lowe's. Right now, make your garden pop for summer with savings on Miracle Grow 25-quart potting mix. Get 2 bags for just $16. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii while supplies last.
Hey, Tucson! On your way to McHale, tune in to the biggest pregame show in the Pac-12, and after the game, listen for the highlights only on the home of Wildcats men's basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
My heat and air work in a state of disrepair.
It's so hot and sticky, I can't stand this humidity. I'm melting.
So you can either check for hot flashes and duct or call Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
It's not hot flashes.
We're calling Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing right now at 520-492-0748.
Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay, nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave.
Hi. Can I get a second opinion from you guys on something?
Of course. It's what we're here for.
So, my wife's brother claimed he'd done some AC repair before.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and now there's kind of a rope and pulley situation that opens the freezer door and a fan inside turns on to cool off the house.
Huh. Very creative.
Really?
No, not at all. Next time, call us first, yeah?
Yeah.
Call Goodfellas AC for free estimates and second opinions. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. GoodfellasAC.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay, nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & Kay is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platform platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
Stay informed on all the latest news from McHale Center and Arizona men's basketball by following us on Twitter at Wildcats1290. When news breaks from Tommy Lloyd's team, we will bring it to you on Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. If you know any 17-year-olds, you know most 17-year-olds are not doing all that much right now. However, there was one 17-year-old who spent the last few days dominating grown men at the top of their field, which is why you should probably get used to hearing the name Cooper Flagg. It is officially time to get used to Cooper Flagg because Cooper Flagg has officially arrived. Yes, those who know already knew. But even those who knew were blown away by what they just saw from this dude in Las Vegas as a member of the select team. You know, the select team that is supposed to push Team USA. You know, Team USA, which is supposed to be better than the original Dream Team. Well, he and they didn't just push them, they nearly beat them. Duke will have him for 1 year only because he can't come directly to the NBA. Although it looks like he's already ready.
O'Reilly. You've got questions?
Media Days at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Back here on the 37-yard line at Allegiant Stadium, the Death Star, the newest facility in the National Football League, home to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Browns will be playing here this year. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm hoping. I think that's the week we play at Utah, the Wildcats. So I'm kind of hoping we get an early game, like a noon game that Saturday would be perfect, because I could be in Las Vegas by Saturday night for some NFL football on Sunday. We don't, J-Dub, we do not want a late kickoff for that particular Saturday night that's going to run us into Sunday morning.
That sounds like some Brian Jeffries type itinerary. You're like jumping back and forth between multiple sporting events.
Well, I think Brian kind of controls everything now, so that might. I don't know if he can control the game times, but obviously
he can make some calls.
With the new ASE, the Arizona Sports Entertainment. I'm not sure that's what the actual name of it is, but yeah, that we might get some favorable things happening with that this year. We can only hope. So right now we've got, just to kind of give you an indication of what's been going on here today, and we're going to hear from the commissioner here coming up here. In fact, let's actually, because this first part of the commissioner is kind of lengthy, so let's get to that now. Let's hear from the commissioner of the Big 12. His name is Brett Yormark, and he addressed to all of the media here a little bit earlier today at Allegiant Stadium.
I want to start off by thanking Las Vegas CVA, MGM, and the Raiders organization. I'd also like to thank Totino's for partnering with us on Media Day. We have over 500 media members here, and I want to thank you each and every one of you for your continued support, but most importantly, for your great and fair coverage over the last year. I also want to thank our great media partners, ESPN and Fox, for their partnership. Almost 2 years ago, they bet on the Big 12, and I assured them we would deliver, and we will. EA Sports is also here, and they will give our student athletes early access to college football 25. I'd also like to thank Microsoft for being here, and we'll talk a bit about that in a little bit. And lastly, I've got to thank my great staff. They have worked tirelessly in moving this event here, led by Scott Draper, and I want to thank all of you for your hard work, your diligence, and for putting on a world-class event. This is our first media day as a 16-team league. There has never been a better time than right now to be part of the Big 12. We are truly a national conference in 10 states, 4 time zones, and all eyes are now on the Big 12 for all the right reasons. And I think it's safe to say we are more relevant now than ever before. Before I look forward, I'd like to recap where we've been for the last 12 months. Since our last football media day, we added the 4 corners and solidified ourselves as one of the top 3 conferences in America. All 4 schools are here with us today, and you will hear from them over the next few days. I'm incredibly excited about what they bring to our league. Last season, Big 12 football fans packed the stadiums. 6 Big 12 teams averaged 100% in home capacity. All schools averaged over 88% capacity. There was incredible late season excitement heading into the Big 12 championship weekend. During our football championship, we introduced the first ever halftime show with Nelly, featuring our school bands. I think that was a great example of how you infuse the old with the new. And our ratings peaked at halftime, and we brought in a more casual audience to experience that halftime show. We had a record-tying 9 teams in bowl games, and we had the second best win percentage. We saw success across Olympic sports and basketball too. Men's basketball had a record high 8 teams in the NCAA tournament. Women's basketball had 7 teams in the tournament, in fact, the most since 2013. 6 NCAA titles were won in sports such as cross country, tennis, and track, to name a few. What led to our success on the field was, of course, our incredible student athletes. And speaking of our student athletes, I have the privilege today of recognizing this year's Bob Bowlesby Award winners, given to student athletes who competed at the highest levels, both on and off the field, this past year. Our first winner is Bella Folino from BYU women's soccer team. Let's give her a hand, please. Our second winner is David Carr from Iowa State Wrestling. Bell and David exemplify what it means to be a Big 12 student athlete. And on behalf of the Big 12 community, I'd like to congratulate them both. Off the field, 2024 was a success as well. Our sponsorship business grew by 79%. Our ticket business grew 23%. To start the year, we launched a partnership with Allstate, focused on Big 12 women's sports. We celebrated last year's 4 editions with Big 12 homecoming events with a partnership with Sports Illustrated. And we'll do it again this year with our new additions. We launched the first ever student athlete health and well-being advisory group. We celebrated cultural moments, including a basketball partnership with the Muhammad Ali Estate for Black History Month, supported by ESPN. In addition to moving this year's media day to Las Vegas, we doubled down on Kansas City as the site of our basketball championships for years to come, as well as added women's soccer. We continue to plant our flag in Dallas by extending our football championship at AT&T Stadium and Globe Life Stadium for baseball. We launched a PSL program around our men's basketball championship with our partner Legends, and we teamed up with the NFL to launch Big 12 Pro Day. And we will continue to build our partnership with the NFL as we as a conference continue to innovate and grow. When I took this position, I said I wanted to make sure our conference was on the consciousness of current and future student athletes. In an effort to do so, we needed to be more active on social media. We are now the second most followed conference on Twitter and Instagram, and in fact have had over 250,000 follower growth since December of 2022. It was certainly a great year both on and off the field for the Big 12, but I often say I'm happy but not satisfied. People keep asking, what's next? Our newest brand spot answers that. We are. Let's take a look.
Everything you thought you knew is brand new. We on the new wave. See, when the game changes, so do we. Every day, every play. Always been greater than 12. Now standing 16 strong. In every end zone, any time zone. When everyone else keeps asking, what's next? We know we are.
So as you can tell, 2024-25 will be a very exciting year for the Big 12. On the football front, we will be the deepest conference in America. Every week will matter. I'm going to say that one more time. We will be the deepest conference in America, and every week will matter. We have star power and parity. We boast some of the top players and coaches in the game. November will be incredibly exciting, and we will brand it as a race to the championship. Beyond football, the best conference in basketball got better. Our Olympic sports got stronger, adding 4 programs with an incredible history of excellence. We recently made some changes across our competition team. Our Olympic sports leadership team is one of the best in the country. Scott Draper is now overseeing all Olympic sports in addition to his role managing football. Dana Scherf will oversee women's basketball. It's the first time we've ever had anyone in that role, and given the growth of the game, we needed to double down. We hired Lisa Peterson from the Pac-12 as our new VP of Olympic sports. Student athlete support continues to be at the forefront of what we do. We have over 70 current and former student athletes participating in this year's Olympic and Paralympic Games, and I plan on being in Paris to support them all. This year, we'll see Big 12 create new opportunities for our student athletes on and off the field. Last week, we launched the Big 12 Beyond Borders program, a cultural studies and leadership program for our student athletes. We will introduce a new governance group to give a greater voice to student athletes. In fact, we took that idea from the Pac-12. The league will assist schools with student athlete storytelling to help build their brands. We will introduce original student athlete storytelling content this year, named 12 for 12. We will also continue to work with the NCAA to protect our student athletes from the negatives that come with sports betting, especially prop bets. Lastly, I am thrilled to announce the launch of the Big 12 Alumni Council. The Big 12 has produced some incredible talent over the years, both on and off the field. This council will provide a former student athlete perspective for the league as we continue to grow. And we will officially announce all the members of the council tomorrow. Clark Williams and I will be chairing this council, and we are thrilled to do so.
All right, that is the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, Brett Yormark, spoke to the folks here today and laying out his plan. He's a very forceful thinker thinks a lot of ways into the future and has big plans for this conference. Continues to state that this is going to be one of the dominant basketball conferences across the country. And obviously the Arizona Wildcats are going to be a team that certainly adds to that. And I think he kind of struck the chord that we struck yesterday, and that this is going to be an extremely competitive football conference across the board. And a lot of folks have been talking about that in the building today, that there are a lot of teams that have a chance to win this first Big 12 Conference title as it stands with the new setup of 16 teams in this now very large college football league. All right, we're going to come back. We'll have much more for you from Allegiant Stadium here. DK on the sports tip. We'll get into a little bit about what has transpired already here today, as this is actually the end of the day here of all the activities that are going on. And we have been introduced to 8 teams today. We'll be introduced to 8 more teams tomorrow. And we'll give you a sense of a little bit about what happened today here in Las Vegas. Cricket, though, right now getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Sahuarita and Houghton and Sahuarita Road, a crash reported. Collision in Oro Valley at Oracle and First, a hit and run wreck. First Avenue and Oracle. Campbell and Grant Road was reported as a dumpster fire. Excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. tomorrow, 109 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
And back here at Allegiant Stadium, DK on the Sports Tip. Big 12 Media Week is happening. The first of 2 days of interviews here with the 16 teams in this new expanded conference. We got a chance to hear from the likes of TCU today. TCU led by Sonny Dykes in his first season, I guess 3 years ago now. 2 years ago, if you count the championship game, was in 2022, but going on 3 seasons ago, led his Horned Frogs to the national championship game in his first season. Actually, just 2 years ago that happened. Former offensive coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats during the Mike Stoops era in Tucson. And, Sonny was in a suit today and kind of made a little bit of a joke about that suit.
I wore a suit in honor of Brett Yormark. He's always the best dressed guy. So I ordered an Armani suit, and then I realized that mine came and it spelled Ormani instead of Armani. So I guess it's a different suit than he's got, but I did my best.
Yeah, Ormani is not making the kind of suits that Armani makes, J-Dub.
I have a Rolex watch myself.
Rolex.
Yeah.
Exactly. I wrote in a Uber, not an Uber, earlier this week here.
Just make sure you wash your hands after.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But, again, Sonny Dykes, one of the interesting things that he said also was, and it goes back to what we were talking about in the last segment of yesterday, was how competitive we believe this conference is going to be on the football side. Here's what Sonny Dykes, the former offensive coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats, had to say about how he views the potential of what this 16-team conference will be on the football side.
You know, I think what makes the Big 12 unique is parity. You know, if you look at the Big 10, you look at the SEC, you look at the ACC, the same teams have represented those leagues year in, year out in the conference championship games. In the last 3 years, 6 different Big 12s have been in the 6 different Big 12 teams have been in the championship game. So I think right there that speaks to the parity of the league. It does remind me a little bit of the Pac-12 when I was at Cal. Every team in the league is good. Every team in the league is capable of beating any other team on any given Saturday. I don't know that that's the case in some of the other leagues. And we'll see how that plays out. But I really, truly believe, top to bottom, this is going to be the most competitive league in college football. I mean, I really, truly believe that. You just look at the number of one-score ball games in the Big 12, and you look at the number of successful teams and how many one-score ball games that they've played. It's going to come down to one possession. You look at our 22 team, we were 7-1 in one-score games, and that was the difference, with the loss being to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. You look at our team last year, we were 0-4 in one-score games. So that really determines your success in the Big 12, and it comes down to very minute details, and it comes down to your players playing very disciplined brand of football, playing with precision, playing with confidence, and then making good decisions. So, it's going to be a great league to watch week in and week out. Obviously we're adding some very successful teams. You look at Utah and the success they've had over the last 20, 25 years. It's been on par with just about anybody in college football. You look at the team that Arizona had last year. You look at the history of Arizona State football and the potential of that program, and then obviously Colorado. And so, those are 4 quality teams that, all have their own niche and are all very unique and very different.
And, J-Dub, it's interesting. We were talking yesterday, and I think the one team we kind of left out when we were talking about, teams that potentially could play their way back to the top or programs that have been successful was Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati just a few years ago was one of the best teams in the country for a team that was in the group of 5. I mean, Luke Fickell obviously left, and things have gone downhill a little bit since he left. But they had a string of coaches there who had that program up. And one of the reasons why they're in the Big 12 now is because of what they were able to do for about a 6-7 year stretch on the football side of things. And so, yeah, Cincinnati maybe is a team that's kind of maybe going to be on the downside of this 16 right now. But that's a program that's got some recent history of being one that can be near the top of this conference.
I think, we've heard the term sleeping giants for the school up north I have heard it for 50 years, my whole life. But if you look at this entire list, I mean, we all know the pedigree of Oklahoma State, right? Because that's a no-brainer. But all the others, like Kansas State, Texas Tech, TCU, BYU, Baylor, Houston, Cincinnati, obviously the schools that are coming from the Pac-12, all of those teams have had success on the football field at some point in their tenures and definitely have the ability. So I completely agree with Coach Dykes. We've talked all about it. Who is the favorite? Utah, maybe, I guess, based on what they bring back, but it's anybody's game. Really going to be, we complained a bit, DK, in these last 15 or so years about how much the Pac-12 beats up on each other. Yeah. And come the end of the season, there's a lot of 2-3-loss teams as opposed to a couple of 1-loss teams. It may be a very similar situation next year. We'll see. Again, I think personally it's a little early to predict. I think the NIL transfer portal and all the situation, it's just so hard this time of year to really gauge like what, for instance, a defensive line is going to look like with all the offseason work and improvements and so forth. So, yeah, it's anybody's game. But those teams you mentioned, Cincinnati included, a lot of quality potential challengers for the title in the near future, without a doubt.
And obviously, again, Sonny Dykes, a coach that we're very familiar with, came on to Mike Stoops' staff as the offensive coordinator back the year before I got to Tucson. I got there in 2008. Sonny Dykes arrived in 2007 and really just turned around that offense, increased their scoring output by 130, or their offensive output by 130 yards per game in his first season, coaching the likes of Willie Tuitama, and then the first year of the Nick Foles era at Arizona. And I had a chance to catch up with Sonny Dykes a little while ago and asked him about that final stage. I mean, you'll remember, he's been a head coach. Arizona was the last stop that he was an assistant coach before he got his first job at Louisiana Tech. And I asked him about those years in Tucson and what it was that allowed him to kind of finish himself off as an assistant coach to allow him to put himself in a position to be a head coach in college football. Sonny, Arizona was your final stop on your trail as an assistant coach.
Yep.
What was it about what you did there that you think puts you in the place to be able to get that first head coach?
Yeah, I really liked my time in Tucson. My wife and I had just gotten married, and it was kind of a special time for us. And we'd both, kind of been in Texas for a long time and kind of went off and did our own thing. And so it was an exciting time. We liked Tucson. It was awesome. I had a chance to work with some really good coaches. Mike Stoops was the head coach, and Mark was the D coordinator, and I was the offensive coordinator. And, I learned a lot. It was a really, really good coaching staff. A lot of guys that had gone on and been really successful. It was part of I felt like I was part of changing Arizona football. We started to play pretty good offense by the time we left, and got in some big ball games. Our last year there, we were really one stop away from going to the Rose Bowl. Triple overtime loss, I think, to Oregon that year, and so it was a great lesson. And like you said, kind of got me, I think, ready to see something different. I'd worked with Mike Leach for a long time at Texas Tech and saw Mike's way of doing things, and had a chance to see Mike Stoops' way of doing things, and and they were both really good and effective coaches, but very contrasting styles. And so, learned a lot from both those guys. And when I went to La Tech, took a lot of those lessons and tried to apply them there. And, fortunately, we had some success there and kind of got me started.
And what was fun about working with guys like Nick Foles and Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah, well, we had it was always fun to go to work with Rob and guys like that. We were able to recruit some really good offensive players, Rob and Nick and those guys. And it was fun to see him, kind of get the Arizona program going, and had been the first time they'd been good on offense in a long time there, really since Coach Tomey had been there. And so it was fun to, it was just fun to be a part of that, and build that program and love those guys. Those guys really love to play football. That's one thing about Rob and Nick both is, they had a passion for the game that was, you knew they were going to be special players just because they loved to play so much and they loved to prepare and they loved to work and obviously talented guys. But the thing that stood out the most was just their competitive nature and, just who they were as people.
And Sonny Dykes, you'll remember, was not out of work a long time when he got let go by the California Golden Bears. I believe he spent 1 year out of football and then quickly bounced back at his next stop as a head coach at Southern Methodist. So a guy who has really, and it was funny when I was kind of, looking into that a little bit last night, it made me start to wonder, well, again, here's a guy who, California didn't feel like he was good enough. But what does that really say about California and the Golden Bears that he was able to bounce right back pretty much with another program in SMU and then parlay that into the opportunity that he's had now at TCU? And again, taking a team in its first season to the national championship game. But now the pressure's on. They had kind of a bounce down year last year, and now there's a lot of expectations, I think, for Sonny Dykes and what he should be able to do with the program. But interesting, J-Dub, seriously, what do you – I mean, again, what does that say about California that schools were chomping at the bit to get a coach like Sonny Dykes at TCU?
Well, I think, not to be disrespectful to whoever was in charge of those decisions, DK, but I think it's just heightened expectations. Because you look at what Dykes did at Cal, right? The first season he took over a really bad situation.
Right.
Not unlike at Arizona 4
I think
years
they
ago.
had one win.
One win.
Yeah.
One win in his first season. The second season, 5 wins. Third season, 8-5, went to a bowl game. Fourth season, 5 wins. So they went from a 1-11 in his opening year. So I don't know that the administration or whoever was in charge of the athletic department back then at Cal, maybe we're expecting 8, 9, 10 win seasons. But yeah, I think maybe they jumped the gun on that firing probably.
Yeah, I think they did for sure. And again, Sonny Dykes, the son of Spike Dykes. Did you know, J-Dub, that Sonny Dykes actually was a baseball player in college?
Sonny Dykes sounds like a baseball player.
He played first base for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. So now he coaches against not only his former team that he coached at in Arizona, but he also coaches in this conference against his alma mater, Texas Tech, where his father was a legendary coach there, Spike Dykes, back in the day. A Mike Leach disciple is Sonny Dykes.
7 degrees of separation. I do have an update on Cal's situation. They did have one win equaling the eight wins, one season, equaling the 8 wins that Sonny Dykes there had since with Justin Wilcox. They've only had one season equal number of wins, 8 wins. Every other season has been below that threshold. So.
Yeah. Oh, now they're off to the ACC or wherever back east into oblivion. Go the California Gold.
Airplane peanuts, boys.
Exactly. Enjoy those flights to North Carolina and Tobacco Road, for sure. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 1 hour in the books here at Allegiant Stadium. We are on the 37-yard line here at the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming up in the next hour, I know a lot of you don't want to hear from them, but the Sun Devils are in the house. We'll talk to a pair of Kenny Dillingham's defensive stars to find out how they are trying to improve themselves after the beatdown that they took last year at the hands of your Arizona Wildcats. It's DK on the Sports Tip. J.W. Madden back in studio along with Cricket. She'll join us as well in the 4 o'clock hour. My name is David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions reported Alvernon and Ajo, Ahoway and Alvernon, Sarita Road and Houghton. In Oro Valley, Oracle and First Avenue, a hit and run. Ina closed Camino de la Tierra to Mona Lisa. An excessive heat warning in effect until 8 p.m. tomorrow, 109 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
Really? Really? Free! That's our polar bear promise.
You don't need us telling you it's been hot.
Really hot. Really.
You just need to know, if your AC breaks down,
we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
William just said that.
It's the Alaskan AC
With
service
Alaskan
guarantee.
AC service guarantee.
Hey, Gary was speaking.
Thanks. Like I was saying, we'll arrive
in one day or your repair is free.
Okay, let's try this. At Alaskan Air Conditioning, we promise to be at your house in 24 hours or the fixing thing won't cost you any money.
What?
What? I just said with Alaskan
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
See, now that's easy to remember. It's a toe tapper. Really from AlaskanAC.com.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
Back to UberTube expert Eugene Snurkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, is it true you can't fix your car's air conditioning, so you're moving to Alaska or the North Pole or something?
Sorry, Doug. I meant to tell you, but I just can't seem to crack the code on fixing my car's AC.
Sorry to interrupt, Eugene, but we all know how this needs to end with a trip to Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Hi folks, Sean Furrier here with some sizzling summer specials. Besides the chilly prices on AC repair and big tire rebates, we've also got Duramax 5-year free replacement batteries on sale this month with a $25 installation credit. That means free installation for most cars and trucks.
Seems a bit extreme.
Yes, Doug, an extremely tough battery built for Arizona, and you can be extremely confident in the Duramax 5-year free replacement guarantee. So for award-winning service, call or stop by one of our 14 area locations or make an appointment online. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, here to get you there.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona football. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
And we are live here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Big 12 Media Week. The first official of the 2 days is in the books here this afternoon. Day 1, 8 teams. Day 2, 8 more teams coming up, including your Arizona Wildcats. Tomorrow, Brent Brennan will be in the house along with Noah Fafita, Tetaroa McMillan, as well as on the defensive side of the ball, Jacob Manu and Gunnar Maldonado. The Wildcats actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, played the first. I don't know if it was I think it might have been the first sporting event they had here. The year that they opened up this facility, there may have been an event or two prior to that. But it was definitely the first football game, I believe, when they played BYU here a few years ago, did the Arizona Wildcats. And that was, if I'm not mistaken, the first game of the Jetfish era. And it was a game in which the Wildcats did played pretty well that day. I believe they lost 24-16 to the BYU Cougars that night here at Allegiant Stadium. But a place that you definitely would like to see the Wildcats come back to at some point in the future. It's a absolutely beautiful facility. As you can imagine, all the seats are black. Well, some of them are actually silver. There are some silver seats in the end zones in the upper deck, but the majority of the seats here in this building are black. And it actually looks a lot bigger from the outside than it is once you get inside. It is built kind of straight up here. Is this facility, but absolutely beautiful National Football League facility, and some birds have gotten in that are kind of flying around in here right now. You can't beat that. So interesting, when we first walked in the door today, we were, again, I mentioned in the first hour, you had showgirls here that were dressed up and they were greeting everyone as they came in. Then you came down, everything is down here on the field level. You've got one side, which is all the writers with the stage, and they have the press conferences over there. And then you have an area here, which, again, we're on the one sideline. I believe this would be the east sideline. And Radio Row, and there's stations from all over this conference footprint that are here. Several organizations from Arizona joining us here. PHNX is here. We'll have a chance maybe to talk a bit later from our guy, U of A grad Saul Bookman, who heads up that operation. Sports 360 AZ is also out here with their fine staff, as well as talk shows from all over Texas Tech, and I was on a show earlier from one of the ESPN sports radio stations in Salt Lake City, had us on, and we got to talk some football with them, as well as one of our sister stations is here as well this year, here down in the Big 12 Conference, the home of the Cumulus Sports Radio station in Oklahoma City has arrived here as well. So lots of folks here covering this first, and this is the first, J-Dub, this is the first conference media day of July. I believe the SEC begins tomorrow, and tomorrow also out here in Vegas, the Mountain West Conference is having their media days down at Circa, where we were yesterday for the show. But interesting, it's going to be Sans, Washington State, and Oregon State. They will, even though they're going to play games this year in the Mountain West Conference on the football side, neither of those schools is participating in the Mountain West Conference football media 2 days that they're having.
Are they holding their own Pac-12 media day?
That would be very interesting. Like, just the Pac-2 media day. Where would you have that?
They're still retaining the Pac-12
at a
name.
restaurant in Portland.
Exactly. No, somewhere in Corvallis, right? Corvallis, I think. Yeah, some diner.
Well, let's see. What city is halfway between Corvallis and Pullman?
I don't think it's a lot of forest.
The Gorge, maybe the
Gorge. A lot of forest.
Maybe the Gorge Amphitheater, that fabulous amphitheater up in eastern Washington. Maybe they could have it at the Gorge, and get all the media that covers those two programs there. Hey, again, we don't want to beat up on Washington State and Oregon State.
It's the opposite, DK. We've spent so much time when all that was happening.
Yeah.
Because remember, like, there was some 11th hour, deals going on, and the question was, where was Arizona going to be? And as all that was going on, Cal and Stanford were the last two to leave. And, it was like the left holding the bill. Isn't that the old statement or the old phrase? It's just Oregon State and Washington State just were left without a dance partner. And it was sad. I've never piled on those two schools. It's always only in jest because, if anybody got the raw end of this whole situation, it's them.
Yeah, no question about that. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. JW, you came up with some interesting, we heard in the first hour, the commissioner, Brett Yormark, and he did talk a little bit, touched about Olympic sports. And one of the things they've done is they've added to their staff here at the Big 12 Conference. They've hired some different folks into leadership. And one of the positions they hired a young lady from I believe her name is Lisa Peterson, from the Pac-12 to head up the Big 12 Conference's Olympic sports. And that is another area where your Arizona Wildcats come in a dominant position.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody who's perused the medal count by universities attended. So if you've ever gone to any number of pages online and looked up the total medal count based on alumni from those universities, it's always been dominated by the California schools. So your alma mater, USC, leads the medal count with 326 total medals. 153 gold medals by USC Trojan athletes.
And when you say medals, you're talking about Olympic medals. Yes.
Olympic, both winter and summer combined.
Yes.
Olympic gold, silver, and bronze medals combined. Stanford second, 302. UCLA third, 270. And Berkeley is the only other team with more than 200 medals represented. In fact, University of Texas, Austin, obviously, they're fifth. DK, 70 medals behind fourth place Berkeley. So those four California schools have always dominated. When I heard Commissioner Yormark talk about boosting the Olympic events by adding the Four Corners schools, I had to look it up. And turns out the U of A, with their 79 total medals, now is in the lead in the new Big 12 conference formed. U of A with 79, ASU has 60 medals, Kansas with 45, Houston 41, BYU 35, and Oklahoma State. Those are the only other schools that were in the top 50 with 31 total medals. So, yeah, U of A now leading the medal count in their new conference.
So you said Arizona has 79 Olympic medals all time. How many did USC have? 300?
USC has 326. Here's some perspective. You ready? So Arizona total medals, 37 gold, 27 silver, 15 bronze have been won by former Arizona Wildcat athletes. That's 79 total. The University of Southern California has 153 gold medals.
Wow.
So almost twice as many gold medals as the U of A has total medals. And guess what? Arizona is 13th on the all-time list, David Kelly. 13th most medals all time. So there's a whole bunch of California, obviously, some of the more prestigious Ivy League schools are highly involved. There's a lot of crew, those kind of events from Yale and Harvard. Ohio State, Florida, Michigan, also in the top 10.
Yeah. There you go. So, I mean, again, it was one of the things we said when this all went down last fall was that Arizona could come into this conference in a position of power across the board because of the success that they've been able to have, not only in men's basketball, but in a number of other Olympic sports, such as softball. Obviously, you've got to get the swimming program together. We've talked about where the standing is right now in the Directors' Cup at 48, which is not good enough. It's not high enough, and it's not where Arizona should be. Arizona should be close to the top 30. They've got the type of coaches now on this staff and the athletes to be better in terms of where they stand nationally. And we'll begin to see if the Big 12 and this change helps them get back to that place. Now, again, it's not based on what you do in your conference. It's still based on getting to NCAA championships. It's still based on getting into the NCAA tournaments across the board. You still have to be able to do that. And so we'll see if the Wildcats are up to that task in year one here in the Big 12 conference.
Now, here's my question. Let's say hypothetically you did not attend the University of Arizona as an undergrad, but you did go there for postgrad, and then you won a medal for the water polo team. How does that factor in? Like I guess my hypothetical is if you didn't play the actual Olympic sport, if you didn't swim and dive at the U of A, you were just going there for school. Then you're in your mid-20s, decide to pick up diving, become one of the best in the world. How does that factor in for medal counts for student athletes who didn't do the sport at that school?
That's a very good question because we actually have that situation, right, with Chase Budinger, who played basketball, but now he's going to go try to win an Olympic medal in beach volleyball. So I mean, I think it still counts because now, and I don't know if Chase has his degree officially, but he left in good standing as an Arizona Wildcat. So I would, as long as you leave in good standing and you didn't go transfer somewhere else, like say, for instance, if Umar Balo goes and wins a gold medal or something in he transferred to another school. And that goes back to the conversation we were having 2 months ago about what his legacy is going to be depending on what he does moving forward. Whether that's, winning, potentially leading Indiana back to the Final Four, a place they've never been, or if he maybe eventually goes on and plays on somebody's national team and can secure an Olympic medal. Does that go into the Wildcat medal count, or does that go into the count of the last college he played at, Indiana?
I think the dumbest part of this for me is the quite obvious USC and UCLA combined, DK, have 600 Olympic medals. Now, does the Big Ten claim all this? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a 2024 threshold where these schools are entering on their official site. Does it name the number of Olympic medalists they had based on something that happened in the late 1800s out in California?
So, in other words, you're saying the Big Ten is going to be now the Conference of Champions.
I think it's all about driving the narrative, and I think if they're going to claim that they have the most Olympic medals of all time, because again, basically, USC alone has 3 times as many medals as twice as many, at least, than Michigan in 6th place. So that's the top team in the Big Ten currently. It would be Michigan with 155. Adding USC and UCLA to that conference, as far as Olympic medal count goes, it's insane how many medals came out of those schools in California. I mean, you spent a lot of time there. It's no real mystery because it's incredible weather and a lot of the Olympic sports. You certainly have access to some of the best trainers in the world in California. But yeah, the medal count is obnoxious. Only 4 schools with 200 at least, and they're all from California.
It's like all the tracksters live in California, all the baseball players live in Arizona because of the weather and the ability to compete year-round in those sports.
Cricket's here.
All right, the third member of our team, Cricket, joins us now. Cricket.
Hi, gentlemen.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay, so one of the things that happened today in Las Vegas, Cricket, was we got asked to be members of the Pro Football Writers Association of America. You've probably never heard of that. It's a very fabulous organization that votes on a lot of stuff as it pertains to college football. And
cool.
Actually, it might be NFL football, too. I don't know. Football writers. It doesn't say college football writers. It might be. Maybe we get to vote on some NFL things as well, J-Dub. That would be kind of cool.
We'll just loop Shannon in, and she'll just do it all for us.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Shannon would be great at. But see, the problem with Shannon is I think she would vote Dallas Cowboys on everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, MVP, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
MVP, Dak Prescott, Coach of the Year. Who's their coach? Mike Montgomery or Mike Murphy or something of that nature. Mike McIntyre. I don't even know who the coach of the Cowboys is right now. So anyway, I was wondering, Cricket, have you ever been a part of any type of professional broadcast association? Like where you got to vote on stuff, whether it was awards or anything of that nature. Have you ever been so warranted to be pulled into one of those organizations?
No, sir, I have not.
No. Have you ever wanted to be pulled into one of those organizations?
It'd be kind of interesting.
How would you like to have a lot of responsibility and not get paid for it? Does that sound good?
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, right.
Because when I worked in television, the first probably 7 or 8 years I worked in TV in Tucson, you have the AP, you have Associated Press Awards every year, and so they want people to review those things. They want other professionals to review them and vote on the process. And so we're in, we're Arizona, California, Utah. That's all one, or maybe just Utah, Colorado, Arizona. I forget exactly how our region is made up. So we would get regions from the Midwest. They would send all of their award applicants to us, and then you would go through the list and you would watch like hours of videos, and like you couldn't get, you'd have to watch at least 6 minutes of the video before you could like go on to the next one. It was mandatory. You had to watch like so much of it, and then you vote. You say, okay, they give you a number system, and you vote, and then that's how the awards are won. So I always thought that was cool. It took a lot of time to do it, but it was kind of cool to, as somebody who entered. I don't enter awards anymore. I did that a lot early on in my career when it mattered to me that kind of thing. I haven't really done it probably in about 5 or 6 years, but I always thought it was just cool to know that you had an effect on somebody else's work existence to decide whether or not they were going to be an Associated Press or an Emmy Award. I think this was actually Emmys. An Emmy Award winner. And then they have a big fancy party up in Phoenix every year where everybody gets to get dressed up and drink a lot of wine.
Oh, that sounds very nice and fancy.
Now, DK,
You would like the drinking the wine part, right?
I don't know anything about wine.
No?
Maybe some Natty Light, though, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know. This is not a Natty Light event, Cricket.
Oh, come on, man.
No, it's not.
every event is Natty Light event if you try hard enough.
Exactly. Come on, man.
They might have some type of craft beer there at that event, but Natty Light is not on the menu.
Oh, fine then.
Not on the menu.
Not to get too deep in a conversation, DK, but now that student athletes are considered employees and there will be contracts involved, will there be stipulations as far as like performance like there are in the professional leagues?
Oh, yeah.
So therefore, any awards that you're giving out to college players may actually affect their income.
Yeah, that's true.
Just saying.
Who knows if the future Outland Trophy Award winner is going to get a bonus?
You get a max. You can sign a max contract if you get one of the major.
Maybe he'll get it.
awards,
Maybe he'll
right?
get it. I've ridden in about. Apparently, all the Uber drivers here in Las Vegas drive Teslas. I've ridden in about 4 Teslas since I got here to Las Vegas. Have you ever been in a Tesla? Well, maybe we'll talk about Teslas. We'll bring Cricket back in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Teslas. But right now, she's got to get you home. You're probably not driving a Tesla, but she's going to tell you how to get home anyway, every 20 minutes on the 5s.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. INA does remain closed between Mona Lisa and Camino de la Tierra for power pole repair work. Collisions that are clearing at Glen and Alvernon and also at Alvernon and Ajo Way. An excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. tomorrow and 1:09 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are just 50 cents each at Staples. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program. In-store only offer NC 24, limit 20. Save big on back to school at Staples.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
I juggle a lot. And managing constipation with belly pain from my irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, with laxatives and fiber isn't enough. My doctor recommended a way to get ahead of it. Then I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
Really?
Really, really?
Really? Free!
That's our polar bear promise.
You don't need us telling you it's been hot.
Really hot.
Really, really?
You just need to know, if your AC breaks down,
We'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
William just said that.
It's the Alaskan AC
With
service
Alaskan
guarantee.
AC service guarantee.
Hey, Gary was speaking.
Thanks. Like I was saying, we'll
We'll
arrive
arrive in one day or your repair is free.
Okay, let's try this. At Alaskan Air Conditioning, we promise to be at your house in 24 hours or the fixing thing won't cost you any money.
What?
What? I just said with Alaskan
With Alaskan
AC.
AC service guarantee will arrive in one day or your repair is free.
See, now that's easy to remember. It's a toe tapper. Really, really, really from AlaskanAC.com.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
My heat and air work in a state of disrepair.
It's so hot and sticky, I can't stand this humidity. I'm melting.
So you can either check for hot flashes and duct or call Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
It's not hot flashes.
We're calling Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing right now at 520-492-0748.
Picture rocks cooling, heating and plumbing.
Like us on Facebook at Wildcats 1290 for all the latest news on the Arizona Wildcats, including exclusive original content and interviews. This is the exclusive home of Arizona football. Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from Big 12 Football Media Days at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Big 12 Media Days here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at the beautiful Allegiant Stadium, and we're going to talk some Territorial Cup Series football here. Got a couple of ASU Sun Devils with me today. I've got Xavier Alford, defensive back for Kenny Dillingham's team, and Clayton Smith, defensive lineman for the Sun Devils. And guys, welcome into hostile territory, but you guys have been kind of all over. I mean, of college football. Both have played at big time schools, now at ASU. I'm going to start with you, Xavier. You played at both Texas and USC before arriving at Arizona State. Walk me through your journey as a college football player, what you kind of learned at all those two stops that has helped you now try to be an impact player with the Sun Devils.
I would say my freshman year, just going to Texas, it kind of just was the blueprint, like a big program. Obviously, going there as going there as a freshman, and just seeing how things kind of work in college, everything, just how it is day to day. Being at obviously a big program like that, you kind of got to rise to the standard. So it was a good baseline for me, and then ultimately after that, taking my talents out to Cali, to the West Coast, to USC, being there for 2 years. Learned a lot. Obviously, it was a culture shock for me coming from Texas, just the city, everything like that. But it was good. Learned a lot. Played in the Pac-12, get some good schools. Played Arizona State. So just being familiar, and then switching over to ASU, really, I feel like those two spots led me to ASU, really. And then ASU was everything I was looking for in the other two. Those were, like, I would say, they had some things I was looking for, but ASU definitely had everything I was looking for as far as location, the culture, the coach, player, staff, just all around.
And Clayton, you played at Oklahoma before arriving at Arizona State. What was that like being with the Sooners, and then what was your decision to move over to Tempe?
It was great. My first couple of years. I had two different staffs. I was recruited by Lincoln Riley and his staff. So me and Brisbane Middlewood staff, we didn't really see eye to eye, so we decided it was time to make a move. It was more mutual. My family, me, and they, on their end as well, we had all just decided it was time to move on. So that's what I did, and it worked out for the better.
All right, so let me ask this question. Did both of you play with Caleb Williams at different places? Like, did you play with Caleb at USC and you played with him at Oklahoma?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me about Caleb and what it was like being his teammate.
He's an elite competitor. I know a lot of people, social media, they might perceive him to be some type of way, but he's the same guy day in and day out, down to earth guy. To me, he handles the media and all the pressure and stuff really well. Like, he's just a normal guy. Like, he's like a friend. Like, he's our guy. Like, but he's a baller on the field. And like I said, he's an elite competitor. And when I played with him, he was great. Like, I trusted him with the ball in his hands every play, and kind of just played off of him. But he's a great guy.
Did you ever get a pick on him in practice?
Yeah, I have.
Did you ever get a sack on him in practice?
I did. I heard a couple.
So what was your experience with him?
Like Zay said, he's an elite competitor, elite talent. As soon as we came in together.
Okay.
So as soon as we got there, we arrived on campus together. It was you could tell he was different. The locker room approached it as such. You know, that first spring ball, it was a battle. You know what I'm saying, between him and Spencer. He really opened a lot of eyes. People seeing how good he really was. So no, it was fun. But like he said, at the end of the day, he get perceived and looked at some type of way. But he a regular guy. He cool. You know what I'm saying? He focused on what he got to do, and he an elite talent.
Xavier Alford, Clayton Smith joining us, a pair of defensive players for Kenny Dillingham's program, Arizona State. I want to go back to Texas with you. Did you get a chance to play with our guy Bijan Robinson there?
I did.
And what was his influence on you?
It was really good because I came in with Bijan too. We both graduated early, so it was only like 5 of us really. So we was real tight knit with each other, especially that first spring, being the only young guys there. But I knew from the moment he stepped on campus the type of player he was. He made me better at practice. He made each other better. He's a elite competitor too. Great guy too. Somebody you can go to for advice. Really, to be honest, I trust Bijan to do anything for me. Really, that's just the type of guy he is. He's a great guy. So just being around him, it was good for the time being.
We always talk about how, from one season to another, you can try to take a game that galvanizes you, that you take into that weight room in the off season to try to make yourself better for the next year. Was that the Territorial Cup game last year for you guys and the way that went down at Sun Devil Stadium?
I would say, it was the last game, so it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, really. So we definitely used that. But from that moment on, the last game of the season last year, we just decided that we just got to make a change, and the only way we can make change is by making changes, just holding each other accountable, putting in the work every day, trying to be better every day. So yeah.
That's a fact. For me, it was the Utah game. I feel like that game, it really was just a complete.
Definitely.
It was just we didn't execute at all. I feel like that's the game that I always revert back to, you know what I'm saying, when things get hard or I'm in the weight room and I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting tired, I don't want to do it. I think about that game because I don't want to feel like that again.
So what, in terms of Kenny Dillingham, what are his staples that with this program that attracted the two of you to want to come play for him and that you believe he's going to be able to use to turn this thing around in Tempe?
For one, he was his authenticity. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Authenticity.
His authenticity. You can just tell that he's about what he's talking about. He's not just trying to sell a dream. He really wants guys that want to be here, and if you don't want to be here, he really doesn't want you here, and he means that. But the plan that he has, and it's about buying in. But he's a great coach. We follow him. Everything he does, and yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback off him, I would say he's just a great person, like someone that you want to play with. I know some people in the head coaching role, they could kind of be distant and stuff like that, but he's there every step of the way. You might just walk in a meeting room any day. It could be specialists all the way to DBs, receivers, quarterbacks, anything. But he'll just we just pop. So he's always there. He's involved with the players. He's a player coach, but he is a coach. Like he knows, very smart. When it comes to the game of football, he's just a great person, like just a great guy to be around every day. I could be around him every day for the rest of my life and be good.
Chatting with a couple of Arizona State Sun Devils and Clayton Smith joining us, as well as Xavion. Last name again, sorry, Zayon Alford. You guys got a couple of our guys from our team last year a couple of years back with Adama Fall, who's in defensive backfield with you, and then Jacob Kangaika came back over and on defensive line with you. I'll start, Clayton, with you. Jacob, what's kind of stood out about him in the workout so far?
Jacob's he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing player. The mentality he attacks the weight room with every day is phenomenal. He's one of those guys that, when things get rough, you can count on Jacob to still be doing the right thing and to call you up, not call you out, but to call you up.
Oh, wow. I like that. I like the way you use that terminology.
Yeah. Jacob, he's a real stand-up guy. He's an even better teammate.
And Xavion Adama Fall, we had him a few years in Tucson. Never obviously really saw the field, was kind of a developing player, thought he could be a guy that might be able to get on the field, but made the decision to leave and go to Tempe. Well, what's he kind of been like working in that defensive backfield with you guys?
AD brings energy to our team, man. I would say that he's a pivotal part of our team, really, because, he knows everybody on the team knows him, knows who he is. He works hard every day. Comes in, he's going to work hard every day, mad, sad, happy. Definitely, and I would say he's probably one of the best special teams players on our team, if not the best, really. He can play punt, kickoff, and do anything, and that's obviously a big pivotal role of football, period. So I would say that he definitely added value to our team, and energy. Is a great guy. He's very smart. He does a lot of different things too, modeling, stuff like that too.
Oh, wow, okay.
He's
a model.
AD, he's a funny guy. Yeah, he's funny.
All right, so give me an indication of his style. Is he one of those guys that'll show up in a nice sleek pair of pants and a sport coat at the events?
Oh no, AD he's just AD. Like,
okay.
It's just one of those things you can't explain. It's just when he walks in the door, like who he is. He's always smiling, laughing. He's gonna greet everybody, crack jokes, stuff like that. Like our building is real authentic, real natural. So I like that about ASU.
Now, I can't let a couple Sun Devils get away without asking you guys about one of the favorite kids that I ever covered on the high school scene in Tucson, Arizona. That's your quarterback, Trenton Bourget. Give me some Trenton Bourget stories.
He's great, man. He's so mature. I would say, like, as far as just going about everything, like life, like how he does it. He's about business. He's a great guy. You could talk to him about almost anything. He's actually my locker mate. My locker is right next to him, so we talk really often. His family, his brother, everything. They are just good people, really, and I love him, really. I love him. I'm glad he's on our team. He definitely makes our team better.
Yeah, like you said, good people, real good people. It's great to have him on the team as one of the leaders. Trent's just one of those guys that does everything right, in every aspect of life, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And it's contagious. The energy he brings, he's always uplifting, he's always positive, he's always trying to lead, do the right thing, and it's just contagious, and it's amazing to have a teammate like him.
All right, guys. Well, Xavion Alford, Clayton Smith, defensive representatives here this week for the Arizona State Sun Devils. We will see you in Tucson in November.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. The Sun Devils stopping by today here in Las Vegas. Cricket getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported Grant and Alvernon, Alvernon and Grant Road, Alvernon and Ajo, Ajoe and Alvernon. Ina closed between Camino de la Tierra and Mona Lisa for power pole repair work. And for your weather, excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. tomorrow and 109 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Is Charlie Woods the most anticipated, follow in the footsteps child of an athletic Hall of Famer we've ever had? Bronny James, as good as he may be, still has to compete within the parameters of a team sport. Golf is individual. Dale Earnhardt Jr. came along just at the beginning of the social media era. I don't know that there's anybody else.
Wildcats Radio 1290. Your home for in-depth conversation.
Nothing they do is by surprise. They telegraph what they want to do, and then they brag about it afterwards. It's a way to keep us at each other's throats.
The most pressing issues.
This was just a white on black crime, and you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time.
And fresh perspective.
The air marshals will not be on the airplanes because they're down at the border escorting illegal aliens to their Ubers.
Most loved truth tellers live on. At Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we are back here at Allegiant Stadium. Special guest joining us here on DK on the Sports Tip, Lena Washington from 12 News up in Phoenix. Put out a disclaimer. She is a Sun Devil grad herself, so kind of continuing with the ASU day here at the Pac-12. See, there we go. There's another.
It's tough.
There's another quarter in the jar.
It's like when the calendar flips. How long does it take to write 2024
right?
instead of 2023?
Well, we said at the beginning of the show, is like we're going to start a jar for every time we say Pac-12. We'll put a cord in it and see how long at the end of the year,
We're at $5
how much money we have at the end of the year we can donate to some worthy charity or so. So, Lena Washington, third year at 12 News,
yes,
after being I think you graduated Cronkite. And then went out to another one of my old haunts, Bakersfield, California.
Yes,
for a little while.
The Golden Empire, as they call it. Spent 3.5 years in Bakersfield, and now it's pretty interesting that the players I covered in high school then are now in the NFL. The Jordan Loves, the Chris Barneses, or coaching for teams in the NFL, which is really cool. And then moved my way up to Sacramento. Spent 3.5 years there, covered Arizona State running back Cam Scadaboo there, so now he's in Tempe, which is, again, pretty incredible, and that's one of the more fulfilling parts, I think, of the industry, of the job, is that you get to watch coaches and young athletes and families that you meet down the line, how their lives change and progress, and good or bad, just being able to keep that community around you is pretty special. And then coming back home is a dream. I've always wanted to work for Channel 12. Bruce Cooper, longtime anchor. That's my mentor. Still in my corner. He was just visiting the station a couple days ago. So to carry that mantle up in my hometown is pretty special.
You mentioned covering some of these kids in high school, and you mentioned Bakersfield. And I remember one of the kids that when I was coming up in my career and doing radio there and doing play-by-play of high school sports, Joey Porter was in high school at the time.
Foothill High School.
Exactly. Foothill High School there. And then to see him, and then to move back to Cleveland and get to cover him in Browns Steelers games was even more. And it was the funniest thing.
And now Junior's up.
And now Junior's in the NFL. I always tell people, I said the funniest thing about Joey Porter was I did an interview. It was a Bakersfield versus Foothill game.
Okay.
It was a game. We used to do a TV broadcast down there. He was a player of the game, and we could not get 3 words.
Oh.
We could not get 3 words out of Joey Porter in high school. And then he got to the NFL, and he was just this tremendous
found that
talker.
personality.
He just found it at Colorado State, and then parlayed that into being one of the mouths of the NFL during his time here. It's crazy how these kids develop from that standpoint, seeing them maybe very shy and timid in high school to get to where they can be personalities when they get to the professional level.
Absolutely, and then to have the privilege of being able to share that with your audience, or to tell people about who they were back then, and encourage the next generation to say, hey, this is what this individual went through. This can be a blueprint for you to move forward. I think that's really cool. But this event is pretty special. It's my first time at a media days inside a stadium. Pac-12 was at sound stages and at hotels
and the club
at Nokia Theater and whatnot. So I mean, the club is here too at Allegiant Stadium. But this has been a wonderful event. It's over pretty quickly. got what we needed and stayed inside in this record-setting heat that we're used to in Arizona, but it still feels the same. I don't think people understand the sun is still sizzling our skin just like everybody else. We just know to cover up or drink water or wear sunscreen, how to prepare as Arizonans.
Lena Washington joining us from 12 News up in Phoenix. They do an outstanding job with Lena and Cam up there. We've had Cam on the show before. I've got to get Luke on the show at some point to kind of complete the trifecta. But as a Sun Devil fan, does it shock you? We've been talking about. Does it shock you the twist in this rivalry when you look back 3 years ago to what happened in Tucson to last year and what happened in Tempe?
Man, I mean, you anticipate it, and honestly, as a Phoenix sports fan growing up, before I even thought of getting into this business, we're kind of conditioned to expect disappointment or not meeting the moment, right? Whether it's the Diamondbacks or the Suns or what have you. But yeah, it's kind of strange being like, oh, Arizona's the ranked team now. Okay, they're the top dogs in the state. Remember when they couldn't beat NAU or they had trouble scoring points against Colorado? But I think that's just a testament to what Jed Fish built and what the community there has rallied around. Being able to keep Noah and T-Mac, I think, is a testament to Brent Brennan and kind of the culture that he's already established there with his staff. So I think it's going to be really exciting. And of course, when both programs are good, that's better for both fan bases. But I'm excited to see just kind of how this new era of Arizona and ASU football moves into this big stage of the Big 12. I mean, Brett Yormark has big aspirations beyond this year. So how do the West Coast teams, the Four Corner teams, kind of keep up with that?
One of the things we've been saying is that we've on the football side anyway, it's going to be very wide open.
Yes.
I mean, you could have 7 different teams with an opportunity, I think, to win this first Big 12 title in this 16-team league.
Which is exciting, I think. Some people do prefer dynasties and just kind of people running the table and curb stomping the rest of the field, but it's also exciting to get an upset on a Saturday or Big 12 after dark. Maybe we'll see a little bit of that. So like the commissioner said, the parity, I think, will give fans a little bit more to expect and tune in for on Saturdays. And then I just love that the rivalries don't go away with the Territorial Cup, Duel in Desert, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to be heightened even more with the size of the conference, the competition, the playoff implications that are going to be happening this year as we transition into a bigger CFP.
Well, it's going to be Big 12 after dark because if people actually thought we're going to be starting games before 7 o'clock in September in Arizona, that's not going to it didn't happen in the last conference, and it ain't going to happen in this conference either.
Yeah, I don't think they want to melt. I did love how Kenny Dillingham kept it pretty concise when someone asks, what's your game day experience? It is hot and loud. Yes, it's hot and people are out there, 3 hours before kickoff. I'm sure the same thing. The Zona Zoo is dedicated. So it's going to be fun to welcome in some new fan bases, some new energy in terms of the traditional powers and programs that are going to be in this conference.
So as a Sun Devil alum then, and somebody that covers both programs, what rivalry or what new rivalry are you most looking forward to?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think based on the recent performance against BYU for ASU, I think the Sun Devils always have something to prove when they're going up against against a team from Utah, whether it's the Utes, BYU, Utah State, you name them, it doesn't matter. I'm curious who the Wildcats are kind of salivating to take on.
I've said from the get-go, BYU
the Cats and the Cougars.
For me. I think because of the history of those two teams playing a lot recently, but also just because of the large Mormon population that we have in the state of Arizona.
That's true.
I mean, and we've had so many kids out of southern Arizona, that have gone to either to BYU or some schools in Utah as well. So I think that creates that element. I think when BYU comes down there, somebody suggested that they should play all the Arizona BYU games here earlier this year, and I was like, I wouldn't. It's like halfway in between. I was like, I wouldn't disagree with that. But I think you're gonna. They're a fan base that travels.
Yes,
and it's gonna be, and all of these are, I think, fan bases that travels, which is gonna be something a little bit more unique, I think, to this league. Is you're gonna have those home games where it's gonna be maybe 5,000 to 10,000 folks of the other team versus maybe a couple thousand or something of that nature.
Right. We had Oklahoma State come to Tempe last season, and that game was rocking. And I know that Kenny Dillingham has so much respect for Mike Gundy, and then of course Kyle Whittingham, his team was picked to win the conference. So see some familiar faces from the Pac-12 visiting and visiting them is going to be, I think, a fun experience. Are you going to travel this season?
We're not going to travel now.
Okay.
No. We've got our sponsored day at home, and so we'll be out at the casino on game days like we were last year. Yeah. But Lena Washington joining us from 12 News in Phoenix. You mentioned game day as a student. You were a part of the game day experience down on the field.
Yes, sir.
Now you were dance team, correct? Palm line.
Yes, I was on the dance team. Shout out to Adrian Robertson, the Palm line coach. We go back to Cinderella pageant
I worked
days.
with Adrian at KVOA for years.
Yes, she was Adrian Nurse when I knew her, but it's been really cool to watch her take over that program. And then every year when we had the rivalry game, we would do the Battle of the Bands. So we'd learn some of the Palm line choreography. We'd share with them, and I had plenty of teammates and classmates who went to U of A, whether they were in the dance program or involved in the spirit program. So it's pretty cool to see just how that has expanded, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I should have probably taken more internships to get a little more ahead. That's what I tell my Cronkite students and mentees. But to be on the field for the Brock Osweiler moments, on the court for James Harden, going down to Tucson for the games, the James Brooks block, all of that.
Don't bring that up.
I had to. But those were, such formative moments, and that actually kind of propelled me into pursuing sports, just being in the action, feeling the energy, knowing to call a defense cheer when your team doesn't have the ball kind of thing. That's when I was like, okay, I know a little something about something. So, but it was fun. And then to see the young ladies out here representing and doing amazing things for the program.
I saw you talking to the girls earlier.
Yeah, they're still doing the choreography.
Are you like a star? Are you like an alumni star now?
Alumni. I'm just a proud alumni. I mean, I've judged tryouts. I've known girls who've gone on to be, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Cardinals cheerleaders. It's been really cool to see and to watch other dancers kind of even branch out and build the community in Phoenix, Tucson, the West Coast. But yeah, that was part of my game day experience. I mean, going on the field, dancing to Thunderstruck, all of that, and I don't think people quite respect and understand that it's a game day for the ladies too. We're up at 9 a.m. for band practice, then you got to go eat, then you got to be at the stadium at 3 o'clock, peak heat, then you have to stay at the stadium for until midnight.
Right.
And if you were an ASU dance team member, you only watched 3 wins, if you traveled last year. So, it was a fun experience. And if anybody has questions about what that's like, you can reach out to me. And then I made the pivot to media. So I'm not the first, I'm not the last, but it was a fun ride.
Well, you mentioned Bruce Cooper at the top being your mentor, and you mentioned being a mentee now to younger broadcasters coming up through Cronkite. What does that mean to you to be in that role?
Well, I was already fielding questions from young ladies in like my second year in the industry, just as a black woman in this space. In the 2010s, there weren't too many of us at the time that we could look up to. I didn't have a black woman in sports, specifically in Arizona, that I could connect with or reach out to, or really a woman in sports outside of Jody Jackson, who's been there forever and does amazing work. She's a great colleague and friend. But to have that person, that figure in my corner, and to have someone like Coop when I was in Bakersfield kind of having second thoughts, doubting myself, not having the self-confidence that I needed to be in this competitive industry. He would tell me, girlfriend, you could do my job yesterday. And if you know Coop, you know I nailed that impression. But to have someone like that is so important. And so to have that role now, I don't take it lightly. I cherish those responsibilities and moments. I'm inviting a young lady to the station as soon as I land from this event later this week. We had another young lady at the station. I encouraged another young lady to go to the National Association for Black Journalists convention just because she had no idea what it was, and opportunities like that can change your life and change your entire perspective, just to be in a community, in a space with like-minded individuals and people that you look up to, just rubbing shoulders like this, Elle Duncan, Jamel Hill, Stan Verrett, like all of these people that you see on the screen are in the flesh. And so to be that person for someone is kind of surreal to me, because I'm still learning. I'm still trying to make it on deadlines and get the stuff on the TV and make sure chyrons are right and all of that stuff. But to have someone who looks to me for that guidance or direction or just encouragement is really special. So it's been a privilege. I've taught at Cronkite as well. To see those students go on to cover big events or work with local teams is really meaningful. And so it's wild. I feel so young still. I feel like I just graduated 2 years ago, and here I am being like a mentor and a reference for the next generation. It's very special.
All right, Lena Washington, quick fire.
Oh, gosh.
ASU, are they going to finish 16th or better?
Better.
Better. How much better?
15's better, right? Better than Colorado. Can I say that?
Cardinals. How many games into the season before we start talking about whether Kyler Murray is the future?
I mean, 2. That's the topic of conversation all the time. Is Kyler the guy? Is K1 ready? Move on from K1. He's too short. No, K1 is coming in with a level of maturity now that he's been through some adversity, and under Jonathan Gannon and Monty Austinfort, I like the direction this team is heading. They're saying all the right things. The energy is positive. So, but yeah, the chatter, the noise is going to be there. That's like Kevin Durant is requesting a trade every other day, even though he says, his manager says that's not true, all of that stuff. So, but I think they'll finish with 7 wins this season. You didn't ask me that, but I put it on wax that Cardinals will finish with 7 wins.
Do the big 3 make it to the second round?
Ooh, that implies, is it the same big 3?
No. Okay.
I mean, a lot could happen between now and next February, sir.
That's true.
I'll say they make it to the second round. I say the Suns make it to the second round.
Okay. All right. Are the Diamondbacks sellers here in a few weeks?
Ooh, I don't know. Tori's riding with Paul Sewald right now.
Gosh. Yeah, my fantasy closer who put me out of the playoffs this past week.
Woof. I don't know. I mean, Mike Hazen, I think they will make some deals. I don't know how aggressive they're going to be. They were really aggressive in the offseason. They made some investments to further their run. Those haven't really been seen through all the way. Eduardo Rodriguez still on the mend, not getting the full pitching staff together. Jordan Montgomery kind of faltering. I think they might be sellers. I don't know how big they're going to go, but I know Mike Hazen's probably making some calls.
All right. Do the Mercury go deep into the postseason?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do we get Diana Taurasi back for another year?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes. I think she's too stubborn. I keep saying, it's a big round number. It's 20. It's the All-Star.
20,
I think she's
okay.
gonna be like, y'all did all this for me. I'm coming back one more year. Then I'll do the farewell tour, a la Sue, of course.
Final question: Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark wins WNBA Rookie of the Year?
It's going to Caitlin Clark.
Oh, I think it should go to Angel Reese. If you look
what
at the
you
numbers,
think and what's going to happen. I'm with you, David, but I have to say I was floored by just the Caitlin Clark mania at Footprint Center at the game. I know what it is. I understand it, but I was just shocked. It was the first time really at a Mercury game that the visitors were making noise. The Aces and the fans kind of are getting a little louder, but it's not typical in a Mercury game. The visitors are loud. ASU games, Diamondbacks games, sometimes Cardinals games, the visitors make it seem like it's their home game. That was the first time I've seen so many Iowa and Fever jerseys, 22s, a lot of black and gold in the building. It was incredible to see, and she's coming back for the All-Star game, so it's going to be rocking there.
And do we get hockey back?
No. Not for another 10 years. But J.J. Watt's asking some questions about team ownership. I don't know if somebody wants to.
So you got some money?
I mean, I think he's got a little
bit.
something
Think
saved.
you got ownership money though? That type of money?
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of names that are being thrown out there in terms of bringing hockey back to the desert. It was sad to watch that go. Another reason why people in Arizona have beef with folks in Utah, I guess, Salt Lake City,
exactly.
taking Clayton Keller from us, Barrett Hayton, all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Lena, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. I don't know, you said this is the first time you've ever done this, but you're pretty good at it. So maybe we got to get you on some of those shows up in Phoenix. I'll have to give Gambo and some of those guys a call to put you on,
yeah,
right?
Burns and Gambo. I mean, I hate to. They hate when I say it, but I listened to them as a kid growing up, and I mean that out of genuine respect, to be sharing the space with people that I looked up to and worked with and watched now, and to be peers with them and to have them give me feedback is really special. So living the dream. Happy to be here with you, David. Always good to work with you and see you out in the field. And if we're ever down in Tucson, we'll get some EGs.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Well, we got Fox 12, or the News 12 is on Fox 11. So if you're watching it, check out Lena Washington with Cam. What's Cam's last name?
Cam Cox and Luke Glidden.
Luke Glidden. You
can find me on all socials at L Washington TV. And yes, if you're in the Phoenix area, check us out on The Dozen. Olympic coverage coming up. So if you like sports, we're at your place.
All right, Lena, appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Lena Washington, 12 News Phoenix, with everything you need to know about what's happening in the valley side of Arizona. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, much more. We'll hear more from the commissioner, Brett Yormark. Also, Rich Eisen is going to join us at the top of the hour. DK on the Sports Step. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
Nice.
Ina will reopen between Mona Lisa and Camino de la Tierra before 5 this afternoon. Collisions reported at Alvernon and Ajo, also Grant and Alvernon. Prince Road near Campbell for a possible structure fire. An excessive heat warning until 8 tomorrow night and 109 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Spectacular savings are happening now at Mattress Firm's July 4th sale. You can get a Sleepy's Queen mattress for just $89.99, the lowest price ever. Upgrade, save, and celebrate before it's too late. Offer ends Tuesday. In-store only while supplies last. Restrictions apply.
It's kickoff time, and Believe podcasts are here to get you ready for the season.
This team, they looked to figure it out, and they said, okay, we got a shot at this thing.
With Believe, you get immediate reactions, game previews, and expert analysis from all 32 teams, plus all of your favorite college teams.
This is a true junior that we're talking about.
Sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone.
The running was good. His size is unbelievable.
Just search Believe. That's BLEAV podcast, wherever you listen.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
4th of July appliance savings are happening now at the Home Depot, so upgrade with innovative appliance brands like GE Profile. Modernize your kitchen with a new GE Profile 4-door French door refrigerator with hands-free auto-fill dispenser. And with the GE Profile Ultra-Fast Combo Washer Dryer, you can tackle large loads in about 2 hours. Save up to $2,400 on select kitchen packages with 4th of July savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about June 19th through July 10th, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer looking for quality car parts in Tucson, look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you.
Paid for by NHTSA.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream. But it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona football. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Back here live at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is Big 12 Media Week, the first of 2 days of football here at the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. We had the Arizona State Sun Devils here today along with TCU. a number of other teams. We got to know Cincinnati was here today, the Bearcats, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, Iowa State, the Cyclones, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, Kansas State, the Wildcats, and the Horned Frogs from TCU. So that's another thing. We've got, J-Dub, we've got a bunch of new nicknames that we have got to learn to remember with these new teams. I think the only one I don't really I'll give you. So tomorrow we've got the Houston Cougars, the Baylor Bears, the BYU Cougars, the West Virginia Mountaineers, the Kansas Jayhawks, the Colorado Buffaloes. The only one I'm not positive of, just off the top of my head, UCF. I believe they're the Knights, maybe the Golden Knights even, if I'm not mistaken. Well,
I think that's correct.
See, we don't know if they're UCF, we don't know if they're UF, and we don't know their last name. So that might be the most obscure team. But they're coached by Gus Malzahn, who obviously had some success at Auburn back in the day and is now taking over that program. So good on Gus Malzahn that he has gotten into another team, another program. West Virginia, man, that would have – it's funny. It's funny when you look about this Big 12 now. That would have been a whole lot of fun if Rich Rodriguez was still coaching at West Virginia, and maybe if he had gone back there to have him come back in with that team here to play some football. We don't get to see Kirk Crease at West Virginia this year because he's moved on to Kentucky, of all places. But Kansas is going to be a team that, like we mentioned yesterday, they're picked to finish 4th in this league, and a team that has played some very good football as of late. And they might have one of the quarterbacks that everybody is really looking forward to watching, and that is Jalen Daniels. Their quarterback who kind of burst onto the scene last year. He and Shedeur Sanders thought to be among maybe the top 2 quarterbacks or the top 3 quarterbacks in this conference. I think everybody has pretty much brought their quarterback here except for a few teams, and one of those teams was Arizona State. Arizona State did not bring their quarterback. On offense, they brought Leaf Fautanu, one of their offensive linemen, and then Cameron Scadaboo. We had a chance to talk to Cameron a little bit earlier. You'll hear that. We'll give that for you tomorrow. Interesting young man. We got a chance to chat with him a little bit. But 2 of the teams from today did not bring quarterbacks. Arizona State did not bring a quarterback. Iowa State did not bring a quarterback. And then tomorrow, I believe all of the teams except for Baylor will not have their quarterback here. And BYU actually will also not have a quarterback. Everyone else will be here, as will Shedeur Sanders will be here, or be at least at Media Day for a second straight year with his father. In fact, Deion last year brought Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter for the final Pac-12 Media Day, and he is bringing this year his other son, who plays on the defensive side of the ball. Shiloh will be here along with his punter, Mark Vissett. And we had a punter, I believe, in the house today for one of the teams. I think Cincinnati had their punter here, Mason Fletcher. So we weren't too far off when we thought maybe our place kicker, Tyler Loop, might get an invitation here to Big 12 Media Days, but it did not happen. Noah Fafita, Tetro McMillan, Gunnar Maldonado, and Jacob Manu will be here tomorrow.
You said that Deion brought his son and Hunter, but my memory is that Deion did not.
Yeah, that's true. He did not.
He was ducking you because he didn't want to hear questions.
Right, exactly.
Isn't that how it went down?
Yeah, he did not bring. He was not here last year, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see Deion here tomorrow for his first big-time football conference media day as a head coach. So we'll see.
Would you like to know the full history of the University of Central Florida mascot?
I would.
So originally,
please enlighten us.
Originally, they were the Knights, and then they changed their moniker to the Golden Knights for merchandise sales. They thought that'd give them a boost. 2007 changed it back to the Knights, but the best part, DK, their mascot's name is Nitro, and he looks awesome.
Nitro?
Yeah, like a yellow and black kind of thing with like a football helmet for a head. Yeah, he looks great.
All right. Well, do they come? I think that's our road game. I think that's our long road game for football this year is Central Florida. So we will see Nitro firsthand on the road in November the 2nd, my mother's birthday, at FBC Mortgage Stadium in Orlando, Florida. That will be the second to last road game for the season. In fact, let's just to go over the schedule as it will lay out this year for Arizona if you do not know. The season opens in week 0 on August the 31st at home against New Mexico. That'll be Labor Day weekend. Then the next Saturday at home against Northern Arizona. So the Wildcats will play back-to-back home games before they hit the road for Kansas State, which is actually going to be a non-conference game this year because that game was already on the schedule.
That's happened a lot, right? I mean, there's a lot of teams that are having non-conference games versus new conference opponents going into the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, these games, why take it off the schedule? I mean, that's a good. Again, that's the kind of game, and I mentioned that yesterday. Back before this all took place, that's the kind of game I want to see the Arizona Wildcats playing against a comparable Power 5 opponent, and Kansas State fits that. Although, again, Kansas State, one of the top teams in this conference this year.
I think it was Kyle Whittingham who mentioned that they got Baylor just because the schedule is already set up to play Baylor, but it's a preseason non-conference game, so similar situation.
Absolutely. Then Utah will be the first official conference game, so the Wildcats will get the Utes right off the bat in late September. The Utes picked to finish first in this conference. The first conference home game will be against Texas Tech. I think that's going to be a budding rivalry as you go back to the old border conference days and whatnot.
If nothing else, DK, it's got to be because tortilla is kind of their thing, but they've been stealing saguaro. They put saguaros all over like a ton of their merchandise over I think it's about the last 6 or 7 years, and a lot of people are curious as to why. And I think the representation is just to mean desert. But there's no saguaro within, 500 miles of their campus. It's kind of a Tucson. It's a Southern Arizona thing, very unique to this part of the world. Maybe there's a budding rivalry about the ownership of the Cactus logos because, Texas Tech has been using saguaros a lot, for sure.
Wildcats will travel to BYU in mid-October, and then Dion and company will come to Tucson for homecoming. That's going to be a homecoming off the hook for sure on October the 19th. Family weekend against West Virginia will be the following weekend. And then the game at in Orlando, which will be the longest of the treks for Arizona in this new Big 12 conference. They will also play down in Fort Worth this year against TCU. That'll be the final home game. That's sandwiched in between the home game on November the 15th against Houston and the 98th Territorial Cup game at Senior Day, which will be the last Saturday in November on the 30th. So the Territorial Cup game will be played on a Saturday in Tucson this year.
What do you think about taking on the favorite Utes in their building to start the Big 12 season?
That's it's a heavy test early, but I think again you've got at the beginning of your schedule you've got that Kansas game, which is going to give you a stiff test the week before. You just hope you come out of that game healthy going into Utah in September. Because again, that's a team that's got tough place to play, tough place to win. But you've got Cam Rising coming back. He was here today, and a lot of questions about that. They're kind of a lot like when you talk about guys coming back that missed time. Their outstanding tight end was here today. Brant Keithy, he missed all of last season, did not play. Is expected to be one of the best tight ends in the game last year before the injury took him
Whittingham
down.
said it was his best. He said today was his best tight end room. They've also got some dude named Dorian Singer up there in Salt Lake City as well.
Yes, they do have that young man. In fact, let's hear a little bit from Kyle Whittingham, whose Utah Utes are picked to finish first in the Pac. There we go, Pac-12. Another quarter in the jar there.
DK, we do have Cricket back here in the studio first. If you want to talk about those Ubers you were mentioning earlier.
Yes. Okay. So we're back with Cricket, who is with us. So Uber's here apparently, and it's funny because I actually rode an Uber in Tucson not too long ago, and it was a Tesla. So Cricket, have you been in a Tesla?
No, I have not.
You've not been in a Tesla. Okay.
No.
So these cars are built kind of differently. First of all, like you push a button and the door it doesn't actually have the handle's like built into the frame. So you push a button and then it kind of comes out and then you can open the door. And then some of them, not all of them, but some of them have clear roofs. So you can actually see the sky when you're inside of a Tesla.
That's like one of those boats It's all glass floored.
Right.
Oh, that's
You ever
kinda
been in one of
cool.
those?
Exactly. And then at least the ones I've ridden in here in Las Vegas have these really huge screens where you've got video of the curb when you're making a turn, so it gives you kind of like what you're seeing on the corner. You've got your car, which is the color of your car, but then it's lost the signal.
Of 90. This is Wildcats Radio
All right, I'm back up.
1290.
The wait is over.
Welcome back.
Deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Right, exactly.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's the land of the free and the home of student drivers ready to back into your new fence at any given time. It's firing up a round of burgers and dogs on your rusty grill with a faulty gas line that engulfs your tool shed in flames. It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Back to UberTube expert Eugene Snurkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, is it true you can't fix your car's air conditioning, so you're moving to Alaska or the North Pole or something?
Sorry, Doug. I meant to tell you, but I just can't seem to crack the code on fixing my car's AC.
Sorry to interrupt, Eugene, but we all know how this needs to end with a trip to Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Hi, folks. Sean Furrier here with some sizzling summer specials. Besides the chilly prices on AC repair and big tire rebates, we've also got Duramax 5-year free replacement batteries on sale this month with a $25 installation credit. That means free installation for most cars and trucks.
Seems a bit extreme.
Yes, Doug, an extremely tough battery built for Arizona, and you can be extremely confident in the Duramax 5-year free replacement guarantee. So for award-winning service, call or stop by one of our 14 area locations or make an appointment online. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, here to get you there.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake.
Exactly.
And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in wash scent beads.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
For all the latest news from Arizona Stadium, McHale Center, and High Corbin Field,
Who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
He's kind and he's funny and he's also mustachioed. He solves all your problems by the end of every episode. TV Dad. Everyone loves TV Dad. TV Dad. Unlike your real dad, he never hollers. And he tells you how Progressive can save you lots of dollars.
Listen to your TV Dad. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Live from Big 12 football media days at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we are back. A little snafu there knocked us off the air here at Allegiant Stadium, but we are back with you. Glad to be back with you. 2 segments left to go here. We are among the final folks in the building that are still working. Everybody else has gone on to whatever dinner plans they might have here tonight in Las Vegas, and an early night to get ready for another long day tomorrow. And again, the Arizona Wildcats will be here, so we're looking forward to getting a chance to talk to Brent Brennan and company tomorrow about this upcoming season. Again, hop on over to our Twitter page and vote in today's poll, which is the Wildcats, our pick to finish 5th in the new Big 12 Conference. Will they finish 5th? Will they finish better than 5th? Will they finish lower than 5th? Right now, 92% of you saying they will finish better than 5th this season. Head on over there. You can vote in that poll. We'll wrap up the voting on our poll yesterday, which was quite an interesting one. It involved music and not sports. Who's the one person who can't fake it if your favorite musical band is having a night off? The lead singer, the guitar players, the keyboardists, or the drummers. In the end, 39% of you said the lead singer cannot fake it. I would disagree with that based on what I saw Saturday night here at the concert that I went to. I think you can indeed protect the lead singer. And the drummer, though, is the guy or lady who absolutely cannot fake it. So thanks for everybody who voted in that particular poll. All right. Before we went and started talking about Teslas in the last segment, we were going to hear from Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of the Utah Utes, whose team is picked to win this first inclination of the Big 12 Conference as 16 teams. He talked about that, and he's got a new player on his team this year.
University of Utah is very.
You might know who he is. Let's hear from Kyle.
University of Utah is very excited to be a member of the Big 12. Very good football conference, a lot of good teams, good coaches, good players. New challenge for us, new opportunities for us. And we're definitely excited about the new playoff format and the opportunity to make the playoffs on your own merit and not have to be voted by a committee to get into that exclusive club. Got a good football team coming back. Got a lot going for us. Starts with our quarterback, Cam Rising. We missed him last year, obviously, but he's back and ready to go, barring any unforeseen setbacks. Getting Brant Keithy back, who we were missing last year as well, is going to be a big plus for us. So we feel like we've got a lot going for us on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive line is solid, is maybe as good as it's ever been at Utah since I've been there, and added some real weapons on the outside at receiver. Defensively, we should be solid. We've played good defense for a lot of years at Utah. That's been our calling card. Don't expect that to be any different this year. But bottom line, we're ecstatic to be in the Big 12 and can't wait to get going. And this signifies that the season's right around the corner when you get media days, although we're the first media days out of the gate. I realize that, so there's still a little bit of time, but it means that football is not far away. It's a transition we have made before, although when we went to the Big 12 or the Pac-12, we were trying to come up a level, which there was a little bit of curve there that we had to endure. This is actually the fourth conference I've been in since I've been at Utah. We were in the WAC, then the Mountain West, and the Pac-12, now the Big 12. So nothing new for me personally as far as changing leagues, but we feel like we've got a roster that's equipped to compete right away. Obviously, I guess the media feels the same way, being picked as the favorite, and I think that's a show of respect to our players and coaches that have done a great job competing through the years that the media has selected as number one. But in the final analysis, that doesn't mean anything. Obviously, you got to play the games, and our players are fully aware of that. But again, it's a nice show of respect for our program from the media.
You mentioned the four conferences you've been in. What does it say to the way you guys play that you've dictated some of the things that have gone on and been successful instead of you having to get used to the conference?
Yeah, well, first of all, physicality is always a good thing in football, and that's our calling card. We pride ourselves on being a physical football team, year in and year out. Defensively, we've been very consistent, and if you're good on defense, you're going to be in every game every week. And so it's it's something that our philosophy, our culture, I think stands the test of time, and obviously we've got good players, and that's where it starts. As I mentioned, and I've said several times, 80% of your success in college football, or lack thereof, is tied directly to recruiting. And if you can't recruit the right way, then you're going to struggle. But we feel like we've got a good roster right now, 1 through 85, and ready to compete in this league. And I think it's a really good league. I mean, yeah, we're picked number one, but in my estimation, there's 8 or 9 teams that could win this thing, and we'll have to see how things unfold.
With the lack of a downfield passing game last year, one of your biggest portal additions was Dorian Singer. How is he fitting in with the offense, and how is his chemistry with Cam?
Dorian's been a great fit. He had a terrific spring. Very easy to understand how he was able to have over 1,000 receiving yards at Arizona a couple of years ago. But what he did in spring was impressive. We also added Damian Alford, who's from Syracuse, who's going to be a good addition for us on the outside, although he was not available for us in spring. But we feel we've really helped ourselves on the outside, and having Cam Rising back, that's the biggest factor for us this season, is to have Cam back at quarterback. He's the alpha dog of the football team, the unquestioned leader, and we got to keep him upright this year. We keep him upright, we got a really good chance.
You mentioned the WAC, the Mountain West, and the Pac-12, and playing your games here in Vegas, and bowl games in Vegas, yearly games back in the WAC and the Mountain West. What are your thoughts of Vegas and just what it's kind of meant to your program?
Well, first of all, this building's been very good to us. We've had a chance to come down here and win a couple of Pac-12 championship games. Obviously, last year in the bowl game, we didn't fare so well, but Vegas has always treated us great. It's a great city. The bowl, in particular, is John does a great job with the bowl and the bowl experience for the players, and so nothing but very positive memories and experiences here in Las Vegas, and of course this is one of the best venues in the country right here, this Allegiant Stadium, and so we have been opportunistic to be able to, or it's been a great opportunity to be able to play here as much as we have. We're going to open here in 27 against the Miami Hurricanes. I probably won't be sitting here in this chair, but somebody will, and that's going to be a great opportunity again to come to Vegas and play a game.
DK, 4 conferences while being the head coach of the same university.
Yeah, that's pretty. I didn't even realize that
was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, when you wait, so now they were, what was it? The WAC, obviously, the Pac-12, the Big 12. Were they in the Mountain West too? What was the other one that they were?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right, Mountain West. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, he named all 4 just there, but
yeah.
4. Yeah, I mean, 4 conference. They've done. I mean, I remember when Utah had joined. I know that their stay right before they joined the Pac-10 at the time was pretty brief. But yeah, 4 conferences while never changing venues.
And Dorian Singer, on his 3rd college, obviously played the 2 seasons at Arizona. Had the breakout season in 2022 when he caught 66 balls. In the 2nd year of the Jed Fish project, 1,100 yards receiving. And again, we've talked about it, went to USC, and things just did not in terms of what happened on the field. He may have made more money off the field in terms of his NIL and all of that, but in terms of on the field, did not really put up the numbers that he had the year that he was with Arizona, just 24 catches for 289 yards. So it'll be interesting to see. The gentleman asked about the obviously the chemistry that he's been able to build early on with Cam Rising, who's coming back from injury. So there's a lot of question marks on that Utah offense in terms of just the two guys coming back from injury. You got another wide receiver coming in who's been able to show at a high level, but can he recapture that? And if they do, then they are going to definitely be the team, I think, that wins this conference. If they struggle, those three guys, I think in particular, then other teams will have a shot to be at the top come November in this conference when they will play the conference championship game in Dallas, Texas, which is where they have played it for a number of years, and you heard the commissioner early on speak about that. One of the things that we want to do is we get set to take you closer to the start of football practice is kind of begin to highlight some of your Arizona Wildcats that you could potentially be seeing in new roles this season under the direction of Brent Brennan, who is in his first year. And one of those players is tight end Roberto Miranda. Roberto is a young man who's got a very interesting story. He comes from Germany and has been in this program now for several years. Really didn't get a chance to play until 2022. In fact, against Utah last year, you might remember late in the game, the Wildcats were up, and we asked, why are they throwing passes with this lead this late? But one of the reasons that Jaden DeLora was in there and threw a pass late was because he wanted to get a reception to Roberto Miranda late in that final. I believe that was the final home game of the season last year against the Utah Utes. It was senior night, and he wanted to get Roberto an opportunity to get a reception because he's always been primarily a blocker for the Arizona Wildcats. And we had a chance to hear from Roberto Miranda, and like a lot of the guys on this team, he was asked if he had considered potentially leaving the University of Arizona after the coaching staff that he had played for his entire career under, and Jed Fish and that staff decided to leave for Seattle.
I never thought about leaving. I love Tucson. I love Arizona. And I still have a lot of teammates that I'm very close that decided to stay as well. So for me, it was never a choice to actually leave. And just Coach Atkins as a person, he's a great coach, football-wise, but also just as a human being. So being around him, I felt super comfortable from day one, right off the bat. So, I'm still happy with my decision to stay. And, I'm very, very happy overall. Yeah.
Roberto, how would you describe your experience in Tucson?
Kind of all over the place. I'm an old head on the team, as you guys know. I've been here since 2020, COVID year, freshman year. So just moving to the U.S. was kind of wild. Everything hit me at once. But overall, just amazing. Tucson is kind of like the opposite of where I'm from. The weather, the food, everything is different, but I'm still very happy that I committed back then, and I'm still finding out a bunch of new places, a bunch of new things every day. So, it's great out here. I love it.
That's the interesting thing again about Roberto Miranda. Played, he's going into season number 5, did not play at all his first 2 years, did not play that COVID-20 season. So again, the guy that was on the field, or at least on the field dressed the night that Arizona lost 70-7 to Arizona State, did not play the next year in 2021, Jed Fish's first season. Finally started to see some special teams action in 2022, but that was it. And then we saw him play a little bit more tight end last year. Got the one catch in the game. He mentioned Matt Atkins, the new tight ends coach and passing game coordinator under Brent Brennan, who comes over with Brent from San Jose and really has a high opinion of Roberto Miranda.
We've got one of the coolest kids I've ever been around coaching is Berto. Berto's just really, he's not a kid, he's a man, right? Like, he's 25 years old, and he's absolutely fantastic to be around. He's dead serious about his work. He does a fantastic job off the field in terms of like taking care of his body in the meeting room, all that type of stuff, which I think really matters to the end product. And then, he's definitely, at least to this point, like proven that he's going to be a part of this.
Matt Atkins with high praise for Roberto Miranda, who I think is a player we're going to see a lot more of as he enters season number 5 for your Arizona Wildcats. We'll hear more from Roberto Miranda, who grew up in Germany as a soccer kid, not a football kid, not a football kid, but a football kid in Germany. We'll hear more about that. But first, cricket gets you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported Stone near Drachman, reported on Stone Avenue near Drachman, Irvington near I-19 on Irvington east of I-19. An excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. tomorrow at about 1:08 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Their recruiting professionals utilize their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
Really? Really free. That's our polar bear promise.
You don't need us telling you it's been hot.
Really hot. Really.
You just need to know if your AC breaks down,
We'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
William just said that.
It's the Alaskan AC
With
service
Alaskan
guarantee.
AC service guarantee.
Hey, Gary was speaking.
Thanks. Like I was saying, we'll arrive
in one day or your repair is free.
Okay, let's try this. At Alaskan Air Conditioning, we promise to be at your house in 24 hours or the fixing thing won't cost you any money.
What?
What? I just said with Alaskan AC.
Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in one day or your repair is free.
See, now that's easy to remember. It's a toe tapper. Really from AlaskanAC.com.
DJ on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Cricket, did you know that you had a World Cup?
Straight! We're going to have a super over!
Is that like soccer?
I don't understand any of it. I don't understand the terminology. I don't understand. Left-armed seamer, can you believe it or not? He caught a slip.
You don't want to catch a slip.
I don't know what any of those things
That's not good at all.
But congrats to the USA for defeating Pakistan.
Yeah, I like the left-hand seamer, though. That sounds like a good thing.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SCORE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SCORE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SCORE.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface.
Yeah.
Why is the before work hustle
Kelly,
an after school home, a section of my block, a corner to call my own? With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Live from Big 12 football media days at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, final segment of the show on this Tuesday, Big 12 Media Week here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. And, J-Dub, I want to get to the Diamondbacks because I actually got a chance to watch the game last night. I have to come to Las Vegas to watch the Diamondbacks because we've been down this road. I cannot watch them at home because the Diamondbacks games do not appear on Xfinity Cable. I had to come to Las Vegas to watch a really good Diamondbacks game last night. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Diamondbacks download.
Baseball stuff! Baseball stuff!
Was it really good, though?
It was...
I mean,
it was in terms of baseball games, it was a good game. It was a good game. I thought it was a good game. I mean, you had a rookie pitcher come up and you know, light up one of the best teams in the National League. Guy that was in I mean, did you hear the story behind this kid, Yolber Diaz?
I did.
I mean, like selling candy on the corner in Venezuela. You know, I mean, or some country down in South America, Peru, or somewhere like that.
Not to spoil, this is, spoilers coming up, but DK, the smile on his face from the dugout when the Diamondbacks took the lead, right? And then he was in the decision for it, like after the sixth inning, that was great. That was just, you could tell his entire story came to a picture right there, that smile on his face, sitting in the dugout, first Major League start after his team took the lead.
Yolber Diaz made his Major League debut last night, and he was magnificent.
It's 2-2, looking for his first big league strikeout. Got him! Yolber Diaz has his first Major League strikeout. A 98-mile-an-hour fastball to ring up Ozzie Albies.
Count full, D-backs trail 1-0. Pitch called, strike 3. Fastball bottom of the zone, second strikeout for Diaz, 2 outs. The 2-2. Breaking ball called, strike 3. He locked him up, and Diaz pitches out of the jam. Big applause from his teammates. 6 innings of 1-run ball in the books. Now can the D-backs get him some run?
He allowed just 4 hits. One of those 4 hits was a home run that he gave up early in the ball game. Struck out 5 and left because the Diamondbacks would score 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to take a lead. They were trailing 1-0. But they would come back and retake that lead in the bottom of the 6th, and it started with none other than Corbin Carroll.
Tying run at second, bottom of the 6th. Here's Corbin Carroll, 0 for 2. First pitch, chopped into left field. That's a base hit. Perdomo around third. He's going to come home to score, and we are tied at 1.
Well, you called for some runs. You got some.
A Baltimore chop into left field to tie the game.
Now, what's a Baltimore chop, TK?
It's kind of like a high chop that hits the dirt like kind of late and then takes a really high bounce down the right field line.
I thought that was a Gonzalez.
I'm sorry?
Oh, right field. I thought you said right field line. If it goes up the middle, that's called a Gonzalez, right?
I've not heard that term.
Oh, okay.
I've not heard that term.
No.
But you might. I'd have to look that up, but I'm not going to say you're wrong on that. So the Diamondbacks had a 3-1 lead. Kevin Ginkel lights out again. He's starting to look like the Kevin Ginkel that we saw last year at the end of the season, kind of around this time when he started putting it together and he was unhittable down the stretch and in the postseason to help lead this team to the World Series. Ryan Thompson, who has 14 holds now, was money in the 8th inning, struck out 2. And then Paul Sewald, who we talked about yesterday, had a little bit of a rough road trip. Looked like he was back. Got to the final strike. And this happened.
And now the D-backs 1 out away from a comeback win and a chance to get over 500 for the first time since the first week in April.
And a fly ball, deep right center field, heading back to the wall. Here comes some smoke. We got a tie ball game. A home run by Murphy. That's out there in the swimming pool. And it's 3 apiece in the 9th.
Sean Murphy. 224 hitting. Sean Murphy. J-Dub, I was watching the game, and I mean, if you could have heard me scream when that happened, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He'd never blown 3 straight saves, or never blown 3 saves in a row in his career, and it happened.
That was 4, right?
Yeah, no, that's 3.
That's 3.
That's the third one. Yeah, that was because he blew 2 on the road trip and the 1 last night. So tie game, unfortunately, extra innings, and the Braves would find a way to come away victorious in this one.
1-1 pitch. Marcel to center field. Stays up for Thomas. Riley coming home. The throw is late. Head first slide. Braves back in front.
5-4 the final score. The loss would obviously go to Martinez, Justin Martinez in the 11th inning. A game that, and we spoke about this yesterday, if this team could go 5-2 on the 7-game homestand, they're playing every day this week, then you've got a team that I think can be in this race down the stretch. They had won 6 of 8, and this is one of those games when you look back maybe in a month, 2 months, you're going to say, man, they had that game won. To try to really get that roll, start that roll going on this homestand, and they just could not get it closed at the end. Torey Lovello after the ball game on his rookie pitcher, Yolber Diaz.
On a day where I felt like we were a little flat after a very emotional road trip, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, was in line to win this baseball game, and handed it off to the bullpen. So I can't say enough good things about him from what I've seen. I'm normally watching him on field 3 or 4 over at Salt River, and everything's amplified, and it looked exactly the same. The mound presence, the demeanor, the ability to execute. It was a fantastic opening act for him. From there, the bullpen went to work, and once again, we're 1 out away from winning a baseball game. A couple of mistakes. Maybe we could have thrown a slider to Rosario there. 0 for 39 in the minor leagues on sliders, and it just didn't happen. He got on top of a high fastball, got a base hit, and then put ourselves in the position for that home run. So we'll be fine. We're a good team. We're going to overcome this because we've already been down this road a few times this year. And as I said, I believe in this group to be able to come out tomorrow and execute. Offensively, just kept chipping away. We had some moments. We had a nice base hit and very, very good base running by Perdomo, the base hit by Corbin right back at him, a little bit more execution, and we got the lead. So it was one missed opportunity. It was a great play by their first baseman, and those are the little things. We got to win those margins. We got to find a way to win that moment, which would have given us an extra run, which would have put us in the situation that we were in. But we'll flush it, come out here tomorrow.
And just when you thought baseball analytics were nuts, Torey Lovello pulls that one out. 0 for 39 on sliders in the minor leagues.
That's my most favorite managerial statement sentence of all time, because not only did he have DK that knowledge, but clearly they had been instructing him on the mound to be throwing sliders. He follows it up with, he got a hold of a fastball up high. So clearly the slider is what they were looking to throw. But yeah, 0 for 39 in the minors. Probably should have seen a slider on that one, huh?
When I heard him say that last night in the postgame, I'm thinking to myself, who keeps that stat? That you would know Eddie Rosario, who's hitting 184, was 0 for his last 39 on sliders. Who's in charge of keeping that stat?
I have an answer for you. It's called computers, David Kelly. So nowadays, the numbers just get plugged in and then shuffled, and you just got to push the right button to see it.
Oh,
So that's the era that we live in.
That is funny. All right, game number 2 of the series against the Braves is coming up in a little less than an hour. 6:40 first pitch. Chris Sale on the mound. He's on my fantasy team, so I guess I gotta root against the Diamondbacks tonight. He's 11-3 with a 271 earned run average, one of the best pitchers in the National League, and going to be an all-star. Zach Gallen for the Snakes, 6-4, a 3.06 ERA. At least I'll be able to watch it here in Las Vegas because that's the way life is when you have Xfinity cable back in Tucson. All right, let's get to your Desert Diamond Casino replay for today.
And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, we were talking about Roberto Miranda in the last segment. Fifth-year senior for Arizona football, tight end. Got his first catch on senior day last year in the win over the Utah Utes. It was a pass thrown to him by Jaden DeLaura. This was a young man who grew up in Germany, not even thinking about playing football because he was playing football.
Definitely not football, mainly playing soccer growing up. It was kind of like a wild story. I was doing track and field back home in my high school, and I had a friend who just kind of asked me, like, hey, you want to join me? There's this crazy sport called American football, and there's like an open tryout. And I was like, you know what? Let me give it a chance. And I just fell in love with it, and I just stuck with it, and yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Did you start watching the game?
Yeah, I kind of started watching it a lot on YouTube, kind of like college workouts, a lot of like just NFL highlights, hardest hits all year, kind of stuff like that, just all over the place. And I just, fell in love, as I said, yeah.
Noah, what can you tell us about the progress that these two have made during this spring camp?
Tight end is getting a lot of love in this playbook, so that's probably for me the biggest difference. We got the rock way more than last year. And what I like the most about this offense and kind of like the way we run practice, we rotate a lot, especially in the spring. It's a lot about development. It doesn't matter if you're 1, 2, or 3. No matter if you're on the field or in the meeting room, everybody gets questions. Everybody has to be locked in. And I think that's kind of like more the college approach compared to like the NFL approach last season, which I love. Everybody's getting a fair chance, and it's a lot about development and getting better overall.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, we are wrapping up day number 2 here in Las Vegas. Day number 1 here at Allegiant Stadium. We'll be back tomorrow, and the only folks left, J-Dub, are the television people. The life of TV folks. I try to get out of TV because I want to be done earlier, but I'll be done probably earlier than most of the TV folks who still have stuff to put together for 10 o'clock. But that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again tomorrow.
Been in an NFL stadium by myself.
No, never?
Weird. That seems weird. It's like you and 5 other people in a place with a capacity for.
Well, I used to do post game stuff when I covered the Browns, and being in an NFL stadium after everybody's cleared out on game day can be pretty eerie by yourself, especially after a loss in the winter when it's cold. Thanks to everybody that joined us. Lena Washington, Xavion Alfred, and Clayton Smith from Arizona State. For J.W. Madden, for Cricket, my name is David Kelly. That is our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here from Allegiant Stadium, Day 2, Big 12 Media Week. Have a great evening, everybody.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic.
All right, go watch the game.
All right, so tomorrow we will carry Brent live.
Okay.
I think I sent you this guy. I think it's at like
I have it printed out here
or something like that. But just be ready again. Like tomorrow may be a little bit different. I'll try to record. I may record some things early, but just kind of be ready by 10 if we can. The most we can just record in the system and get back there.
I can be here at 8 a.m. if needed. Just let me know when you want to do stuff down the line, and I'll be here.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Yep.
Chevrolet, we want to thank you, Tucson, for helping us celebrate 100 years of serving our community. And we want to thank the Tucson Fire Department for helping.